Hey everyone. Yeah, it was a late start today. I took my kids to like a little local water parky thing with a slide. It was fun. It was really hot outside though. Today I'll do like a kind of like a, I guess, get in, get out type of thing. It's 1:45 for me. I hope you guys showed up yesterday. I kind of wish I dual streamed that. I don't know, for whatever reason, Rebecca doesn't like any streams that are like monetized in any way. So I didn't. I did flip the switch, but that was good. That was actually a fun way to examine evolution, where she was playing, sort of the pro evolution side to the best of her ability, and her chat, man. I mean, it really brings out how dense these people are. Like, I really don't think they have anything other than people who I think are smarter than me said so, that it's true. And I'm like, are you guys listening to these arguments? Are you listening to the problem here? All I saw in the chat was people going, yeah, well, what about Noah's flood? That's irrelevant, guys. That's irrelevant. They can't do it. I was looking at their some of their comments, man. Some of these comments I got to read. It's crazy. It's crazy. They don't have any arguments. Oh, the dude's like a doll, pull string doll, is hilarious to listen to this goofball. No arguments. Couple of 12-year-olds in the back of the class mocking A students because they don't understand it. Not an argument. Let me see. Let me see. There's some funny ones here. Jim Bob still doesn't understand that lobe-finned fish are the ancestors of tetrapod. That's the thing in question. Jim Bob just doesn't understand the thing that I am assuming that I haven't demonstrated. Just look at the fossil. It's just, come on, man. Oh, they're making fun of it. Never mind. Sorry. See, I don't even know. You got to make up oppositional views. There's this one specifically. Oh, this one's the best. This guy, Dave, and they're all such cowards. You know, they would never jump on. They would never actually debate me one-on-one. Ever. They would never debate me one-on-one on this. This guy says, I'm really glad this was posted. I'm hoping it will help creationists. Irrelevant. You can be an atheist and take my approach to evolution. Begin to understand that their objections to evolution don't stand up to rational scrutiny. That's a claim. That the philosophical arguments are mostly just empty verbiage. That's a claim. That's ironic. Just empty verbiage. The statement is empty verbiage. Jim Bob's entire position is based on the false assumption that evolutionary theory, this is the funniest part, listen to this guy. Jim Bob's entire position is based on the false assumption that evolutionary theory requires placing things into categories. That isn't true at all, he says. We can describe evolution at the genetic level. Did you guys get that? He says it's a false assumption to say that evolutionary theory requires placing things into categories. We don't need that. We can just describe evolution at the genetic level. Unbelievable. That comment alone got 111 comments, replies to it. Dude. Wow. One person says, this is pretty low, Rebecca. Not an argument. No, I can't. Okay. No, I can't. Oh, man, it's just nothing. They got nothing. There's actually nothing. Jim Bob, ooh, if you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel, not an argument. I mean, it's just... Oh, hilarious. Jim Bob doesn't understand humans are in the great ape clade. Yeah, that's arbitrary. It's just, I think I ran out of, honestly, maybe I just, oh, Jim Bob, what an absolute clown. He hammers down incidentally, framing evolution as purely accidental process akin to rolling dice. No, it's worse than rolling dice, actually. It's worse than rolling dice. 2 hours of stand-up comedy. Yeah, see? Nothing. Look, that's fine, you guys. That's fine. If you're Evo cult, all you can do is insults or, oh, this is comedy. Viewer discretion contains fictional representations of biology and evolution. Not a single counter, man. It's pathetic. And I asked them to show up in my chat. I asked them to schedule a debate. Let's go. I'm starting to understand why Jay gets so flustered. It's actually sad. This is a key. This is one of the key. I love focusing on the whale, and I hope Rebecca starts to understand this distinction between essential nature, essential property, and the accidental properties, the subcategories that are descriptions of the thing. The lion has long nails, claws, long nails. The whale has a wide tail or a short, narrow tail or whatever. But this problem of the whale becoming into being from a non-whale, which is true for every other creature that they argue, not only is it violate the law of identity, but it violates even their own conception of time and what's required. And we'll go over this right now. They can't really look. They've already figured out in the last 50 years or so how to immediately write you off if you just start from evolution probably not being true. And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you wear a suit. It doesn't matter if you accumulate PhDs. It doesn't matter if you write several books, make several arguments, get granular with it. It doesn't matter. You're fundamentally written off because you're not adhering to the current dogma. And we're the crazy ones. The creation tards are the weird ones. No, you guys are in a cult. You can't even defend your dogma. Tell them about the vestibular system, though. Well, I mean, goldfish, none of you guys can actually answer the question, how does random mutation produce such a distinct, purposeful system? Yeah, that's all you guys do. Just ankle bite and scoff and laugh and giggle. You have shit. You have shit for brains.
Terrestrial mammal to an organism that can complete its life cycle out at sea, give birth there, suckle the young, dive down 1,000 feet or so, hunt fishes, etc., requires a number of extensive changes to the eyes, changes to hearing.
Not just that, you could list the whale, dude. The whale, every animal, once you get into their system, their body plan, what they do, what they have on board, the whale has so many interesting aspects to its system that are integral to what it is. And you have to believe from an evolution position that those items, they actually manifest incidentally. and they all work together.
Changes to the reproductive system, modification of the body so that instead of walking on four limbs, the body adopts a torpedo shape, more or less, that has hydrodynamic properties.
It has the ability to manage its heat temperature according to where it is in the ocean. Even the ability to eat, hunt, defend, and even procreate and give birth has to develop from not having those capacities.
It can move very swiftly to hunt prey under the water. So you're talking about changes to the musculature. You're talking about changes to the vertebral column, the origin of a tail fluke, and all of the musculature and also neurological systems for coordinating that. Changes of breathing, which is very important. You have to be able to.
What's a good debate to start on? You could look up any of the last three I've had. Maybe Dr. Greg. Look up the debate with me and Dr. Greg.
Control breathing in such a way that when diving, there's the blowhole or the nostrils remain closed, and then there can be the exchange of the exhalation and inhalation once the surface. Then there's the question of sleep. You've got to be able to sleep at sea. Mammals sleep, and you've got to do that while underwater. Or at least for most of the body being underwater. So when one looks at the change,
none of them defend how creation happens. That's because it's irrelevant to evolution being true. What is wrong with your brain?
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
Why would a debate about whether evolution is true include whether or not creationism is true? You're dense. You belong in a cage.
When one looks at and many of these changes occur very early in the embryology of dolphins and whales. So all these things have to be rooted back to development. And what you can see is that the characteristics of the features that enable one to say, yes, that's a dolphin, that's a whale.
Are you listening to this, goldfish brain? Listen to what's being talked about right now, okay? I know you're obsessed with theology. I know you're obsessed with God creating the world, okay? I get it. Right now we're focusing on the claim that a sand cow turned into a water whale.
No, that's a four-legged terrestrial mammal. Occur early. And so these are changes that would have to be incorporated into the body plan very early on.
What got me interested? I used to be a proponent of evolution. That's what I was already interested in the topic when I was retarded. Let's debate whether or not creationism is true. Okay. Let's start with why are you assuming that you can come to truth at all, goldfish brain? You can't. The argument for creationism is a philosophical argument. It's not a scientific argument. You can't have a debate or an argument without all the preconditions to have an argument. You can't justify any of the preconditions to have an argument unless creationism is true. Otherwise, you have nominalism. You have a world of unrelated particulars of pure matter. Then you have a world that's pure physical. And then you can't say what's true because truth isn't physical. Neither is knowledge. Neither is information. Neither are the laws of logic. Neither is meaning. Neither is math. You're dumb. You're fundamentally a dumb person. Reading recommendations? Yeah, I would say Genesis, Creation, and Early Man. If you want a philosophical undercutting defeater to evolution, that would be the book. By the way, yeah, let's kick off the goal, people.
years ago, David Berlinski came up with a back-of-the-envelope calculation.
By the way, atheist tards in the chat, David Berlinski is an atheist Jew.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Some of his counter arguments or contentions with evolution are pretty vicious, and he's an atheist.
On the number of characters that would have had to have been transformed, going from a walking whale to a
You forgot vestibular. You have no arguments, dude. You're pathetic.
fully
You're
aquatic
actually
whale.
a pathetic person.
And his ballpark estimate was 50,000 characters that had to change. I was motivated to look into it. And depending on how detailed one wants to be, I think David Berlinski is far more right than he is wrong. I think the number of changes, the morphological details that separates a walking whale from a fully aquatic whale, particularly a modern whale in certainty, is anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000, if not more. I would err on the side of David Berlinski's estimate as opposed to those who think, well, all you'd have to do is shave a cow, cut off its legs.
Well, you got to think about this from the perspective of what we already know about how much time it takes for certain things to happen genetically. For instance, with the fly, with just flies, just 2 regulatory genes changing takes a long time from their model. And guess what? It's still very much a fly. And we're talking about, what, 1 million years, I think it was? 2 regulatory genes from their model changing, hypothetically. 1 million years. They say a land cow that's bathing, sunbathing, turned into a whale in 53 million years. Do you know how many different genetic things would need to happen from their fantastical view? And what their own model says is just 2 regulatory genes changing in a fly while maintaining full flyness. Nothing essentially changes about it. It's a fly. And they're like, no, there's a full change from a land cow, to a whale. What? Turn on Vagine. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I got to turn on Vagine. Sorry about that. She turns us off, but we got to keep her on. Hold on. Sorry about that, you guys. Super chats are off. Turn that on. Oh wait, no. That's wrong. That's not it. What the hell? Pay. There you go. Thank you. There you go. JB, is not the ultimate question for EvoTords, how did this ancient genetic code get filled with info in the first place? Yeah, and I'm actually, they would push away from that because they'd be like, I'm not talking about abiogenesis. Well, that's not abiogenesis. We're just asking, I would ask first what the nature of information is. We didn't even get into that with Rebecca. What is the ontology of information? It's not physical. So that's a problem. Where it came from is a problem. But also, I've been isolating this better and better, as you guys could probably hear in my speaking, that the rejection of categories of animals, that evolution entails the rejection of categories. When I thought further about this, and it's really sticking with me here, that another massive defeater to evolution is that the genetic code is not an essential property to the thing. Now, I don't know if most of you might get this in this language. The genetic code, when you study the genome of a human, or we studied the genome of a chimp, we studied the genome of a whale, right? That statement assumes that the genome is an essential property of that whale, or is it an accidental property of the whale? This question really puts them in a corner. They have to make a choice here. If it's an essential property to the whale, then you can't say it belongs to something else. If it's not an essential property to the whale, then the whale, like calling it a whale, is irrelevant because all you're looking at is the particular genome, and it doesn't belong to anybody. In fact, the genome is an accidental property, but it doesn't belong to anything. And that's already a contradiction. Like you can't definitionally, you can't have an accidental property of an identity that doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. And then when you zoom out even further, the whale, here's the whale's accidental properties, all the cool things about the whale. This is the whale. Hold on, Vagina has to talk.
It feels like work is taking a trillion years. I'm developing a fake stomachache nub.
Nice. So this is the whale, and these are its properties. These things could change a little bit, but it doesn't change that it's a whale. From the evolutionary view, the whale itself is in the same category as the accidentals. It is now its own accidental property of something else. That the changed whale is an accidental property of what? The Pakicetus? Or the previous thing? Like, what are we referring to here?
Throw it in the water and it would be able to, perform the task of a whale. That is, only a few changes would have been required. In 2006, Hans Twissen and some other group looked at hind limb reduction in the so-called walking whales, because one signature of the fully aquatic whales is that they have extremely reduced hind limbs. The hind limbs are present, but they're within the body. So there were
and they're
external
not useless.
remnants.
They're not vestigial, as they used to tell you.
Of them, but nevertheless, they would not have been able to move around on land successfully.
That's right.
And
that's right there. That's really it. Holy cow!
Holy cow! That is a big
Throwing the bag of trash into the holy river instead of using the holy river as a toilet. Watch out, Jim Bob, I'm evolving.
Watch out. We don't want you guys to evolve. We want you to stay exactly where you are. Geographically, too.
That is a very generous donation, like the one I left in the public pool.
But so what was proposed?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. This is really what it is. Evolution must deny the existence of essential properties. It's really that simple, as eloquently put in Dr. Nathan Jacobs' video. And I don't even think, maybe he thought about it further, but maybe Nathan Jacobs didn't even realize, and he will, is that would apply to the genome of the thing. If there's no essential property, if there's no essential properties to what a whale is and what a whale's not, or what a mammal is and what a mammal's not, and that can change, and it comes from something it's not down the line, then why would its genome? They couldn't possibly tell me. I'm going to start asking people that. Is the genome of a whale, is that an accidental property of the whale or an essential property? Their mind's going to explode.
This was a microevolutionary model of hind limb reduction. And that's one where you have a number of genetic changes, nothing dramatic, but creating in this walking whale population or proto-whale population.
Proto-whale.
And then you end up with the...
What's a proto-whale population?
the fully aquatic version of that. Now...
As opposed to the semi-aquatic whale that just can't make up its mind. It's like a bipolar whale. It's just constantly drowning itself and breathing out of its nose, drowning itself, breathing out of its nose.
What I have looked at is the number of genetic networks that would have had to have transformed. How many would have been involved with the hind limb? How many would have been involved with the reproductive system? Because you have to recall that with the reduction of hind limbs that you see in cetacean, you also have dramatic changes to the pelvic region. You have the loss of that. It's detachment from the vertebral column. And this affects reproduction, because the reproductive organs have to be attached to the pelvic region, et cetera, in terrestrial mammals, by and large, in order for things such as copulation. So when you're talking about whales...
Yes, actually, this is true for certain things, like there are certain lizards that clone themselves. So they don't need to have sex with the opposite sex. They just make themselves again. So what is that? Is that a new clade, Felix? Well, yeah, it would have to be a new clade every time, or it'd have to be a new species. But think about that. Think about the fact that there is a type of lizard, and it's not just lizards. There's some other things that have this capacity where they can just multiply themselves by cloning themselves. All of the packaging and all of the necessary goods and tools are within their own body, right? It's like a trans person's dream. And you have to then say that developed also from an evolutionary view. You'd have to actually hold that this phenomenon of this particular lizard that's capable of cloning itself, you have to say it's its own new species. Each singular item is its own new species, and it's nucleate, unique, and it dies out. You'd have to say the one that died, if it failed, that's extinct. That particular one is all there was. And then you think about the process you have to hold to as an evolution proponent to produce this type of animal that can do this, right? How are you going to make sense of that? Think about before it exists in some other form. Think about that. It has to develop the mechanism to clone itself, but it has to exist to develop the mechanism to clone itself.
JB, to your earlier point, I was thinking about that last night. In a skewed way, they believe in a sort of essence. Nominalists believe that things only come into existence after we've named them, the manifest reality type, yet that ability to even bring things into existence presupposes that they have to first extract from something.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
has to be a pre-existing essence.
Yes.
Otherwise, who named humans into existence?
Yes.
Not humans. So who? It's
That's
an odd
right.
worldview.
That's
Love you,
actually true.
brother. Giovanni.
Yes, Giovanni. That's what's this interesting about their view, is that nominalism and the postmodern approach basically presents a counterfeit type of version of creation, that you speak truth into existence. You speak it like God did. But no, we don't do that.
You're gonna end up like Jay, having to repeat the same
I
arguments
know.
for 5+
I know.
years because they will never come up with a counter.
I
This
know.
is your life now.
Oh,
May our
no.
many poop gods protect you. Lo 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 lo.
Oh, gosh, pray for me. You know, pray for me. OG Remedy, thank you for $5. Hey, JB, have you ever thought of this? If the Pakicetus evolved from the water, as evolution entails, why would it evolve to go back into the water? Do they say it evolved out of the water? Yeah, don't they say everything evolved out of the water? Yeah, I don't know their answer. There's actually, the answer to every question is there's no reason. That is the consistent evolution position. There's actually no reason. The Komodo trans whale. There actually isn't a reason for any of it. There's no reason a venomous snake developed venom. There's not a reason for it.
You're talking about a completely different picture for how that can occur. So things like the reproductive genetic network had to change. The musculature network had to change.
Mm-hmm.
The hind limb hind limb bone development muscular system had to change.
Yep. Not just change. I wish these people doing a good job, I wish they would they added incidentally changed, not just changed. Purposely changed with no direction change. That means every aspect of the whale in progress accidentally developed perfectly to exist in water.
Jim Bob. Half white Justin. Piggybacking off of what you are
Half white?
presenting. For a land creature to evolve into water creature, it would need to begin development before it ever can survive in water. This would include new mating, digestion, flotation, respiration, muscular and bone structure,
Right.
before it gets into the water. And to Felix Sanchez, according to evolution, each child must be an evolutionary step away from
Right.
their parents and towards the next species.
Mm-hmm.
Indians still cannot figure out where to poop.
I know, they can't figure it out. You know? What's funny is, like, what would convince me potentially of some form of evolution would be social developments with groups. You know, these people are pointing to bones and fossils, and I'm like, show me a reduction in crime. I don't have my badumch. It ran out of batteries, but I could have used it there. Show me an Indian that doesn't poop on a bus. Maybe I'll start to get behind it. Not to mention, after this supposed change happens, all lesser versions would need into a forest, isolate off, and die. This has to... Well, you know what, Patty? They actually say that 99% of all things that ever existed don't exist anymore. And they say this a lot. And I asked them, how do you know about 99% of all things that existed? Like, why would anyone grant that claim? How do you know about 99% of all things that ever existed? How would you know about all of the things that ever existed?
The neurological.
I don't know. Someone said it once. What do you mean? Are you saying someone didn't say that once and I believe them? Is that what you're saying?
System.
I don't think, Jim Bob, you understand how many people say what I'm saying. Do you understand how many people say what I say? Dude, you're outnumbered. So many people say what I say.
So the number of genetic transitions that had to occur, depending on how micro you want micro to be, is anywhere from I would say, many tens to hundreds. Now, that is of genetic changes that would have had to have accreted in the population over time. When you construct a realistic model, taking into account, on average, 5 years generation time, on average, say...
No, flat's not a shape. That doesn't make sense. Inductively, objects have shapes. Earth is an object. Flat is not an object. That's a description of a surface. So it's not logical to say it. Like, a table's flat, but the table shape is not flat. You know? You can get a soccer ball with has like flat sections on it that make like a sort of geometric sphere, but it's like it's angular. And you wouldn't say that shape is flat. So it doesn't make, it's a category error to say flat Earth. It doesn't even make sense. It's incoherent.
A breeding population size of 10,000 to 100,000 individuals, which is, I think, a reasonable estimate for a proto whale population. You find that anywhere between 5 to 10 genetic changes is pushing the limits of the time available.
You're welcome.
When you start talking about 20 genetic changes, and I don't mean just average genetic changes, I mean those that would have made a difference in that transition, say in the reduction of the hind limbs or in the repositioning of the reproductive organs. If you go beyond 10, 15 genetic changes as being a requisite for that, then there was no time available.
Yeah, and he's doing an internal critique. It's not, the time isn't available according to their model. It's not our model. It's not like creation tards are coming in with a new model. No, your model, there's not enough time. Your model, not ours. According to the naturalist tenets, the teleomony, I've always had a hard time with that one, of an organism is an inference we give. It's a label pattern, nominalism, of our mental scientific development. Yeah, it's nominalism. Yeah. Fauci's experiments on beagles proved evolution, JB. He was pardoned for a reason. Which humans are you calling beagles? To say 99% extinct presupposes that you know the 100% of species that have existed? Yes. Yeah, you would have to have access to get that. What do you mean? Is that confusing to you? How would you know how many species that existed? What do you mean? How would you even know that? How would you know how many species existed such that you can come? Yeah, exactly. It's like it doesn't. I don't know. I can't tell if you agree or not. I think are you stumped?
Well, it depends upon the estimates that you use. But if, for example, you want to think of one morphological innovation, let's say the origin of tail fluke, which involves, it's just more than having an extension of the tail. It involves a modification. It involves the origin of a unique part of the backbone called the ball vertebra, which enables the tail to move up and down. It involves a modification of the muscular.
They can't even, that's what's crazy is that, this is another question that points to the problem, is like, you go, is species an objective thing? And they go, no. And then they go, 99% of all species have gone extinct. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like I said, like I ask every Evo proponent that I debate, how many species exist between a Pakicetus and a whale? How would you know? If it's totally arbitrary, how would you even know? It's like it's almost like Clark Kent goes into the booth, but imagine when he's in the booth, he actually changes 50 costumes. You just don't see those costumes. You just see the end one, Superman. And you just don't know. It's a mystery what goes on in the booth. That's basically evolution. A Pakicetus goes in the booth called evolution, comes out a whale, and you go, how do you know what happened? Like, what are you describing happening between going into the booth and coming out? And they're like, it just does. I'm like, how many essential natures did they go through in the booth in this transitional phase? And you see how parallel it is to the broken Troon philosophy, right? It's not an accident that the Troon philosophy and the transhumanist philosophy are rampant at the tail end, no pun intended, of the evolutionary psyop. They go hand in hand. There is no essential property. There is no essential true man or woman.
Musculature. It involves a modification of the neurological control of that musculature.
Your super chats
and
aren't
so we're
working?
talking about number.
Well, that's why we have customer support. Woohoo! Thank you.
Of changes, but if you imagine, say, that 2 genes are involved, according to some estimates, that's, and these are not my own estimates, but these follow from a paper published about a decade ago or so back. That would take about 43 million years for those 2 changes. 2 genes to come together in such a way that would enable, say, a tail fluke to have emerged. Well, they're
worst analogy, dude. You don't even know what you believe, dude. You don't even know what you believe. It's not a bad analogy because you start with one thing, Clark Kent, and then you change into another thing. Clark Kent changes into another thing. Okay, what happens? What happens when all the dust goes and spins and it goes blurry and then he comes out? What happens? Goldfish, brain. You guys are pathetic. You guys are pathetic. 1/8 of the nub went into the 20% of the dimple. Prove me wrong. The fundamental question, Goldfish Mind, is how many different essential identities does the Pakicetus go through in the process of producing the whale in 53 million years? The answer is, you can't engage with me.
Just was not enough time. It's a numbers problem. The analogy I like to use is imagine someone goes from, say, poverty to being a billionaire overnight. Well, that raises the question, how did that happen? Were they pinching pennies? Were they a wise investor? Did some wealthy relative pass on their estate? What exactly happened? So when you look at whale evolution from the same...
They also can't explain how every organism evolves, quote, its behavior in order to perfectly use its evolutionary advantages. Yeah, that goes back to whether or not behavior, the way something operates, is actually essential or accidental. Is it essential or accidental, right? What part of the biological mechanisms inside of a lion or a gorilla is an essential property of a gorilla, and which is an accidental? How about their behaviors? Is that accidental, or is there essential? Is there an essential property of behavior that belongs to that animal, like predators? Predators, like you list all the predators, right? Take a great white shark, and you go, "Oh, that's a predator, amazing predator." in a sense built, to use engineering terms, a design term, built to hunt and tear apart things in its way, right? Was it always a predator? Didn't the behavior of predation, isn't that a feature of, is that an accidental property? This is a great question, Chris. These are the types of questions they never ask themselves, ever. Is the behavior of being a predator an accidental property of a thing, or is it an essential property of what it is? Oh, why is the shark a predator? Because it evolved to be. What do you mean it? What are you referring to? Are you referring to a shark that wasn't a predator and evolved to be a predator? Then you lost the identity of the thing. That means when it wasn't a predator, its essential property was not a predator. On its way to being a predator, which means that's not an essential property. That's an accidental property. Of what? The thing that doesn't have an essential property. It's madness. It's actually it's crazy. I don't know if you guys are getting this. Like, maybe, like, if someone's still like Rebecca, she's a woman, but she's like, I don't really get the weight of this just yet. I kind of grasp the identity issue. But the more you ponder it, the more insane it actually is. Using the money analogy, if you evolved into a...
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
will it be a part of your nature to have more money? Yeah, I don't know. Do EvoTords ever have to lose in the first place? Well, they don't believe... There's no such thing as winning and losing anyway. So, I mean, there's that. If you asked ChatGPT if evolution is real, it would not say any of these nonsense. No, that it would actually. You could look at my conversations with ChatGPT, dude. Are you really appealing to ChatGPT for either side is a bad idea, by the way. But you can get a ChatGPT to agree with you. What, are you kidding me? I got many a ChatGPT to restate the absurdity of evolution. I got a ChatGPT to admit that if evolution is true, then there's no proper reasoning. Proper reasoning would assume that there's an essential property of the brain, that one of the things it does would be reasoning, and there would be a correct way to reason and an incorrect. You don't even have that, man. Just look at the clip I have of Professor Dave admitting that his brain has no purpose to think, and me asking him, why should I trust a brain that has no purpose to think? That has no directionality toward truth, that doesn't exist to think. Dinosaur is out now. Nice. You guys can give me a link to that. I'll probably be, depending on how long I stream. When does he start? 5 my time? Yeah, that might work out. Send people over to Mr. Listener. Trying to get him on Jesse Lee Peterson. So you guys can help me campaign for that. Who dat?
In perspective, and you start saying, well, let's assume that we're talking about hundreds of morphological changes here. And let's assume, simplistically, mind you, that, it's just 1 or 2 genes under.
This man believes in dragons. You believe a fish became a philosopher. By the way, dragons aren't incompatible with evolution, dummy. If there was a large beast like a dinosaur that flew like a dinosaur, and it had a chemical reaction that could expel some combustion, like many other animals in the animal kingdom today, you dipshit, what's the contradiction, dummy? What's the contradiction, you giant retard?
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
You effing bimbo. Oh my God, you believe in You believe a fish turned into a philosopher. I can't believe these people. They believe in giant reptiles. I can't believe these religious people, they believe in giant reptiles. Anyway, let's go to the museum. You moron. You pervert.
Underpinning
I hate these people. Lord have mercy.
each morphological change, maybe even more, depending on how micro you want those transitions to be, it becomes very quickly on prohibitive. There just was not enough time. So taking other estimates, and this I've done in collaboration with others, if you required, say, 5 genes to change, or more, say up to 10 genes to change, to have the emergence of a tail fluke, or to have the emergence of, say, or not emergence, but say a fully reduced hind limbs, like you would see in the modern whales, then the 3-4 million years, even 9 to 11 million years, given population size estimates, given generation time estimates, there was not enough time to accomplish that. So that means that we have to look at other models for how that transition occurred, models that have largely been ignored by advocates of the modern.
But you do believe in flat Earth? No, I don't. Get out of here. If you're going to be a liar, you can just leave Jortlandia. I don't need lying scum around here. Okay? Lying scumbag? That's what you are. You belong in a cage. That's all you can do is lie. You can't defend evolution. You can't focus on the topic. Did something change into another thing? You have to come in with all your garbage. Because you guys are pathetic demons.
Synthesis.
Truly.
One favored
Just screaming demons from the depths of hell.
hypothesis that has come to the fore, not by myself and by others, others that would be, say, in the intelligent design community, but those that work with fossil cetaceans, is that...
If not, I can't. Yeah, does he have any awards? Remember, Barack Obama has a Nobel Peace Prize for dropping bombs on people.
Essentially is that of the hopeful monster, that maybe there were 1 or 2 genetic changes that radically transformed a number of organ systems all at once. The problem with that is when you look at the genes that are involved in, say, the hind limb development, that we know play a critical role in dolphin embryogenesis. Those genes have multiple effects on, for example, they have effects on heart development, they have effects on brain development, so they just don't affect one, just the hind limbs, the femur, and things like that, the pelvis. So when you have a mutation, and we know this from studies in, say, mice, when you have a mutation...
I had someone in there, her chat or her comment section, tell me I had a tail. When did I have a tail? They look at the embryonic development of a human being, which is a human being, a thing they deny the existence of, and they see a spine grow, and because the spine has an end point and it's developing before the rest of the body, they go, look, it's a tail. If the spine was, if we had spines only half the size of our bodies currently, in the embryonic stage of development, if it had an end point, it would be a tail, according to these people.
Anjalago, the Black Dragon Tolkien. That's the liberal T-Rex.
That is, yeah, that's the T-Rex. Thank you, Cha. I was hoping to win the Ape of the Year award. They should start doing that. According to EvoTardation, me having crooked pinkies is a mutation, thus making me different species. Yeah. Well, you'd have to... I think from their view, they'd be like, well, no, you have to not be able to procreate with the previous populations, right? That's what has to happen. You have to do that. So, I don't know if I'll be able to handle this, actually. It could be funny, but it could be horrifying. I could really only take too much of George Janko per month, I have like an allowance, basically. And it's not just George Janko. He had the Gollum on. So, did I buy a pack of micro machines from this guy? Oh, man. Look, get your best debaters, guys. Instead of ankle biting me in the chat, get your best Evo debaters and let's see how they do against me, okay? It's pretty easy. Get your champions, because you're not going to do it. All you cowards in the chat, you're not going to debate me. You're just going to pick, and you're going to say stuff in the chat, and then you're going to run like you always do. Go nominate your favorite. I dare you.
9 to 11 million years. 9/11. This guy did 9/11. How's my gematria?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good gematria right there. Anyway, that was a fun convo yesterday. She's quite fun. She's a light. She's kind of a light in this world because she doesn't react at all to her chat as vicious as they are, as dumb as they are, her opposition. They just abuse her. And I'm not being dramatic. I mean that very colloquially. But, and she's just like,
In early Evo theory, the whole organism was the unit of selection, but it reeked of intellectual. So then it was individual organs. Now they prefer cells being the unit. There is no actual organism under Evo. Hence Dawkins' robot vehicles of selfish genes. If they even say organism, they are playing a sleight of hand.
Yeah, they don't even have that category. It's pretty wild. You know, because to engage with them, we grant them all of these words referring to things, but it's only until recently that people like myself are going after the things they're referring to and getting them to admit they don't exist. The things they're referring to don't exist.
EvoTords be like, well, I be a monkey's uncle. Noga, your uncle is a monkey.
Yeah, I know. They don't like that part. You know, Sam, the other guy I debated, had no problem calling Christ and St. Paul an ape, but he just couldn't get himself to say that George Floyd was. Do they apply evolution to the planet kingdom? Would be fun to press them on how plant diversity evolved from what? Yeah, I wanted to get into that yesterday about ecology, that they start from populations, but do populations feed on stuff? Yeah, they feed on other populations. Of what? Animals and plants. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, buddy. You got plants now? They have a whole slew of animals, and they have plants too? And the animals habitually feed on compatible things to eat? For no reason? Oh yeah, no, they develop, and then it started to taste good too. And there was berries that tasted good and looked yummy and smelled yummy. And it just so happened to be compatible with their nose that accidentally smells things that are yummy and smells things that aren't yummy. And then their taste buds, which accidentally connect to their brain and says, that's yummy. That's accidental. It's just a beautiful accident. Post-monkey sin ratification, we lost our ape tails to become beast to be saved. Yeah, that's pretty much the debate, wasn't it? Horrifying. Oh, and then I got this other guy, you know, and I usually don't like to do this. It's admittedly petty of me and prideful. I'll just straight up admit it. But sometimes I have to look at it, because this guy, he wrote this comment, right? Here, I'll bring it up here. He wrote this comment here. You guys can't see it. Maybe you can't see it. It says, I was rooting for you. I never trust people who say that. I'm Orthodox anyway, but I'm a big fan, but okay, I was rooting for you to win this debate. Do you know what the debate was, Dave Frage? The debate was whether or not evolution and its suppositions and claims are compatible with the Bible. Essentially, any Christian doctrine. I picked out one that we both agreed on, that God made man in his image. Christ took on the category of man, the nature of man. Simple, right? He writes, however, the other guy was right. The color and language analogies are both fair analogies. No, they're not. And your response to them is missing the point of the analogy. No. The point of the analogy was him just saying, I can't tell you when anything actually changes, but I'm going to sit here and claim that it changes. Okay, what changes? The reason this is disanalogous for the last time is color doesn't change. When you look at a rainbow, the spectrum, the argument that where red meets orange is blurred is not claiming that red turns into orange. It doesn't turn into orange. Further, red never becomes another color. Further, colors never become not colors. Language is totally arbitrary, completely crafted by human beings to make sounds and symbols and words that refer to something that aren't identical to the words. This is not analogous, you guys. Stop using this. It's pathetic. It's making me mad. Those are fossils of giant reptiles, dragon lore across cultures, and ancient accounts of enormous flying beasts. Dinosaurs is just a modern myth of it. Yeah. Yeah, the reference for dinosaurs existed before, or dragons existed before the conception of dinosaurs. I don't even know who to take seriously anymore at this point. I didn't run out of debaters. It's just that the people who I really need to go up against don't debate. They don't stick to this singular topic. They don't want to do it. It also presupposes that a person can recognize colors. Yeah. Don't get them on that, OD. That's too much for them. They're like, what do you mean? I can recognize colors. There's just bad analogies. They're all bad analogies. Language never turns into not language. The words that we use for an apple doesn't change that the apple has an essential property such that it can be called an apple or whatever other word you have for it. Stupid. Speaking of stupid, who here wants to see Jim Bob absolutely destroy heretical Gnostic anonymity? Nobody cares about you, dude. Nobody cares. You're irrelevant. You're thirsty. You know? It's sad. Nobody cares, Marty. Nobody wants to hear you ramble. You're manic. Just continue your cult. Try to grow it with the tactics you have. And good luck, yurt man. Thank you, Jim Bob, for making the sounds you just made. You're welcome. Food is a good one. When did the body evolve to know what it needed and didn't need? How did it know what was waste? Yeah, it accidentally did. And the liver accidentally figured out how to process toxins, which were accidentally identified. What? The hell? What the hellscape? Colors interpreted wavelengths of light. Colors are regular. Yeah, those wavelengths don't change. Yeah, even if the interpreter was wrong, even if it was typical to that we all saw blue as blue, that frequency, even if we suddenly all went colorblind, it wouldn't change the fact that the frequencies are regular and unchanging. Yeah, they don't understand that. They just don't understand this. This is like a something that's fixed. Which now Rebecca didn't understand this, but I didn't expect her to. But like from the Evo view, the external world is compiled of a lot of things that are always changing their essential natures, which is a contradiction. But their understanding of evolution or their understanding of the world, they think they understand the world. They're like, oh, no, we understand the external world. We're studying it. And I'm like, studying what? The thing that, from your view, is always changing? Yeah, it's amazing. We're studying the ever-changing external world. Aren't you in the external world? Yeah. Are you changing? Yeah. Oh, so the thing that's studying the ever-changing world that's in flux and nominal is also an ever-changing flux nominal identity. Wow, that's really great. That's really smart of you guys. Who's your parents? Who's your bishop? I'm going to just start saying who's your bishop. You know, like, where's your dad? Your dad failed you? I'm just going to be like, where's your bishop? Even to atheists. I'm just going to start saying who's your bishop. I'm going to actually make a shirt that says that. I think that's important. You know, I'll have a go to liturgy shirt. And I want to have a who's your bishop shirt. Oh, that? Yeah, they don't like to talk about that. They just say it happened. Also, you could just expand that out, Chad, to like, are mammals a thing distinct from non-mammal? Of course, we studied them and categorized them. Okay, did they come to being from a non-mammal? Of course. What? Okay, why would you think that? Why would you think a mammal came to be from a non-mammal? Is there anything in reality that makes you think that's a reasonable approach to what? What? Bunch of nut jobs, I'm telling you, man. We got to put them in rubber rooms. I don't think we should debate them. I think they should be institutionalized. Imagine like the peak of Christianity, Christian metaphysics and practice. Someone's walking around going, I was a fish. They didn't even have a rubber room. I was a fish. I'm a beast. Okay, well, come on over here. All right. Oh, be gentle with them. Give them some bread. Give them some water. Put them in the little section over there. Steadfast is a foreign term. Are there colors without the process of human eye and brain? Is black a color? I think black is technically not a color, if I'm correct. It's the absence of those things. It's the absence of those frequencies. I think. I could be wrong about that. Did you see Cleve interviewed my deacon? No, but that guy's awesome. I love that guy. He's that big, tall guy, right? I'm in my van writing up paperwork for my last call. I just had a guy walk up. Would you like to come to the church on Sunday, LDS? Well, at least they ask. We got to compete with Mormons and say, will you go to liturgy? Will you go to liturgy? Will you go to liturgy? We got to start amping it up here. A mewing retainer. Joey Schmitty. He's a tall feller. Yeah, he's... Where did I get my pigments? From Earth Pigments. I'm still waiting on a blue one. I already outlined the next saint that I'm going to be writing. And I have my gold leaf ready. I'm very excited. I'm waiting on a burnisher to come in. Those things are expensive. Agate burnishers, a good one? Jeez, man. I know. It's a different approach. Yeah, it is a different approach. We don't want to be annoying evangelists on the street with microphones. No. No, that's not going to happen ever. They're just going to assert that it exists, and that's all they're going to do. Just get used to it. I just got to get used to it. That's okay. Maybe I'm setting the bar too high. Maybe, maybe that's what's going on. My expectations. That's why I'm always upset and I have a crinkle on my head, because I have high expectations of humanity. It's funny that Evos will act offended that you want good reasons to think of a Beauty of Bird's song as pointless, accretion of survival instincts. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. They're like, oh, I can't believe you're adding meaning to the world. I mean, beauty's an accident, duh. Gnosticism was refuted in the 320s. I know, Drew. I know. But you're dealing with someone who runs a cult and is monetarily dependent on the cult. So you're attacking his business, Drew. Don't do that, Drew. How do you evangelize as an ortho bro? Get someone to watch some J's? No, you invite them to liturgy, actually, Matthew. And I think, Matthew, iconography is going to do that. Beauty. I think beauty is the evangelism of orthodoxy and Lives of the Saints. Get people to read the Lives of the Saints. Watching Jay is a type. It could be a type of evangelism. We know for certain, Matthew, it works. We know that countless people, we don't even know how many, converted because Jay Dyer had something to do with their direction toward orthodoxy. Maybe something else ultimately moved them onto the ship, onto the ark. But to pretend that Jay Dyer hasn't influenced many people, many men and women to become Orthodox is just cope. It's complete cope. Even if you don't like his way of talking, or you think he's mean, or you're bored by the dense nature of philosophy or whatever. Fine, those are all preferences. But the thing you can't say is that people haven't converted due to him. So cope harder. Did you see Begbear degrading Miss Wilson? Yeah, that's his only currency. That's actually how he gets attention, is just being vicious and trying to be gross so someone responds. And the best treatment to him is ignore him. You know, because otherwise, what is his value? Like, he's trying to clamor for relevance, right? Right now, Andrew's very relevant in certain fields. Politics, Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, that whole thing going on, and Owen wants in. That's all. Just don't let him in. Tristan? Yeah, that makes sense. Tristan's great. Jay's way of talking actually pushed me toward orthodoxy. Yeah, that's possible too. You know, for me, you know, I'm a Sud. I'm an intellectual. I want to rationalize things. That's my impulse. That's where I go. But the thing is, like, as much as I consumed not just Jay, but other things online and reading things and, you know, thinking things through, going to liturgy and experiencing the holy tradition, all of that stuff was like put on the side. That was like not as relevant or important. It's there. It is important, but not when you're experiencing divine liturgy and participating. You're not thinking about the councils. You know, you're not thinking about the filioque and why V2 is trash, and you're not even thinking about essence energy distinction. You're not philosophizing in liturgy. The liturgical life might include debate. It might include study, church history, knowledge. Yeah, it might include it, but mostly it's focused on the life of your parish and the life of your church. It's actually relieving. Any Suds in the chat who converted? Isn't it relieving when you go in and you go, oh, all of that weight on my brain, the brain stuff, is put to a side. You don't brain through it. Be cool to see you Evo debate with Brett Weinstein. I would probably have a conversation. He's not really a debater, you know, and he's so boring. He's just like an old, boring Jewish ant, you know. He's like Dave Smith. You know, no offense, Dave Smith. You guys just sound like old, verklempt Jewish ants who are just sitting around your gaudy living room. You know, be careful of the lamp. You know those places, you know those houses where you can't move? Like everything's like reflective and you're like, can I put my water on this really thin glass table? Carla? Let me get you a napkin and put the water down on the table. Oh, no, hold on. Okay, I want to make sure your shoe doesn't touch my pillow. With all due respect, shut up. Matthew's still fighting. Can you imagine waking up and fighting? Everything's a fight. UJ, Cleve, Alex, and DPH were influences for me to attend my first Divine Liturgy last month. I've been going every Sunday ever since. Thank you. Glory to God. And Anthony. That's how it goes. Oh, we don't want you thinking about the internet when you're in, you know, when you get in. When you finally get in. fact, we probably argue get off the internet more. Maybe leave the internet a little bit. You want to see me versus Erica? Well, unfortunately, she doesn't agree with the prompt. She wants to make it, let's presuppose the models and compare creation to evolution. Well, no, evolution needs to be defended on its own first. Two different arguments, and they're not even dilemmas. If you just take a general creation position, they don't like that. They don't want to be in defense. They want to be able to have an escape route. They want an escape route. The escape route is, well, let's talk about creation. No, let's talk about what you claim evolution. You're the one teaching it in schools. We're not. You're always freaking out if we even come close to teaching Christianity as a model for ethics in schools. And yet you teach that there's no such thing as ethics. There's no such thing as morality. You teach that we're clumps of cells mashing together. You teach that we used to be fish. You teach that we're all apes, and yet you're all upset that apes are mistreating each other. Why? Why would you be upset apes are mistreating each other, you nasty little gibbons? Why would you be upset that apes believe that there's an ape god? Isn't that perfectly compatible with your view that a bunch of apes happen to believe in a god that you think is fictional? That came down and took on ape nature? What's your problem? Freaks. Did Michelle Obama evolve a wiener? I would say almost. I would say it's like almost done. What do I tell my kids about the behaviors of non-whites in the world? Well, you have to be specific because, there are certain non-whites that have their own rigid customs and norms and don't like some forms of degeneracy. So, you got to be specific. What do you tell them? You just tell the truth. You say, I know you're only 10, but do you know what per capita means? Or maybe just appeal to evolution just for those questions. Be like, well,
Pre-Moncaisans don't count.
you see, sweetie, you see, sweetie, some of us act like animals because we're told that we're animals. Maybe. Perhaps. I would just blame fatherlessness, maybe. Point to some variables. Culture. I'm going to teach my children that generalizing is okay because rejecting generalizations is basically a type of gaslighting. That's like telling people they're crazy for coming to generalizations about a set of particulars. And you're like, that's literally what most of our reasoning is based on. They're like, yeah, I know, but just don't do it for people. Why? What do you mean? Why? Why not? Why can't I do it for people? Debate Corey Mahler? Nah. No, he's another one like Owen Benjamin. That guy doesn't deserve and hasn't earned any notoriety, larger scale exposure. No. Those people will die in obscurity in a churchless position. Now, we can pray for them that doesn't happen, but if they continue what they're doing, when they die, their philosophy dies, their tradition dies, their fake church dies with them. So that's it. You actually get to set standards, alchemist. If someone publicly calls for your death and the death of your brothers in Christ, you don't need to engage with them. You don't need to own them. That's it. You've done it. I'm going to get on a large stage with a lot of eyes, and I'm going to bring them to your attention. No. You get no attention, weasel. You pig. You got to understand that there's leverage. That people have leverage. And if you have the leverage where you interacting with someone or debating them, if that actually doesn't give you anything but it gives them more, you don't need to give these scumbags more. And that's really the trade-off. What do I get out of it? What does Jay get out of it? Nothing. It's all liability. It's just interacting with people who want you dead. That's a liability. That gets a huge cult of people in your chats, messing things up, making trouble for you. Let them be. Let them be. They have no leverage. Why give them leverage? You lose everything. Yeah, it's stupid. Same thing with Owen Benjamin. It's like people are learning this. They're like, what a waste of time. Dumb audience too. Really dumb, low tier audience, man. Anyway, what else is going on? I already covered a little bit. People asking about capturing Catholicism. He's so gay, that guy.
Jim Bob, God bless you. I am unable to watch today, but I wanted to be sure to pay Jortlandia taxes. Josiah.
Thank you, Josiah. Appreciate you. Thank you. Very generous. Alchemists debate the crackhead in the park with a knife, or you're scared. I know, it's so stupid. It's like, let's say someone's like a explicit child lover. You're like, you're afraid to meet the child lover in the park. Like, no.
The super chat was predetermined.
Thank you, Vagine. No, you don't have to engage with scum, okay? You can engage with opposition, but you get the discretion, just the same way you get the discretion of going to a certain establishment. Oh, you're against strippers? Why are you afraid to go to the strip club, Jim Bob? I don't want to engage in or be around those people. Haha, you're scared. You're so scared to get a $50 lap dance from Tinsel. You're such a coward. You're such a coward. What a coward. Scared of Tinsel. Stupid. It's stupid, man. It's low tier crap. Slander. You don't know what slander is. Oh my gosh, man. You don't know what slander is. Her name was Cinnabon. You guys, watch out for any hoes going around calling themselves Tinsel. Let me know. I'll do cease and desist, copyright strike. Okay. You're scared from spinning Tiffany Big Top. Greetings. Oh, wow. He flipped the script. So, hello, listener. Is your album out now, or we have to wait until show's over, or is it out now? Is it out now? Speaking of, I mean, how relevant. We're debating whether dinosaurs exist, if dinosaurs were actually dragons. And this guy asked ChatGPT, hey, given the relevancy of all hot topics in the last year and the trending new topics coming through, what should I name my album for the best possible exposure? Dinosaur. I'm just kidding. That's not maybe what he... Actually, it's actually possible. He does talk to AI quite a bit. I'm pretty sure Tony has morning coffee and the paper with Claude. Like before Maria gets up at like 3:30. She wakes up to just like slight distant mumbling. Now that's slander. No, it was spoken. I didn't write it. dinosaurs were large chickens. You know what I saw, OD, the other day? I saw someone make a picture or show a picture of the bones, just the bones. And the outline of the bones was a dinosaur, you know, classic dinosaur looking thing. And then the same bone structure was changed in position. So it went like from this to like this or something like this. And it was the exact bones. Exact bones. And they drew a chicken around it. And it was a bird. Sorry, a bird. And it was literally a bird skeleton. And I was like, wow. If you just change the outline of the skeleton, you can just change the animal, and the anatomy is literally the same. It's not even different. It's not like they cheated. It's the same. They just used the same thing and redrew an outline. It's like they changed the coloring book. Like, now the lines are bigger and wider. Can you draw scaly skin? You know, their view is they look at scales of reptiles, and they're like, the scales turned into feathers. Incidentally. And it's not just that. The feathers were conducive for flying, but it wasn't in the direction of flying. The scales turned into feathers on their own, incidentally, not related to wings forming that were perfectly compatible with feathers being super light weight, quote, soft scales, right? Oh, man, it's so insane, man. That's a sin? What do you mean you're a Calvinist? You can't blame someone for sinning as a Calvinist. Do you understand that, Alchemist? For the last time, bro. That's a sin. You have no choice from your view. Okay? God's just playing puppets in the room. Here's a puppet that sins, he makes it sin. He could have given it deterministic, irresistible grace, and it would be able to not sin. And he's just playing puppets in the room. How is anyone a Calvinist, honestly? I don't even understand. It's like, is it worse? Is being a Calvinist, like, intellectually worse than being an Evo proponent at this point? I don't even know, maybe. Maybe. I like turtles. 10 minutes to hit the goal. Thank you, Suzanne, for the reminder. Yes, if you like the channel, if you like the utter destruction of evolution, if you like my life, if you like my kids, throw in a tip. I was born this way, I was born this way. I am not elected, I was born this way. I got elected. Calvinists literally believe God, the Holy Spirit, possesses humans. That's what it is. It's like they've inverted possession. They're like, no, there's good possession. Literally takes over you and then determines that you do good and you didn't even know it. You woke up and you're like, what did I do last night? And then there's just like security cam footage of you donating to the poor. And you're like, what the hell? I blacked out. Like, Calvinists must have, like, good deed blackouts. People think blackouts are just like, I blacked out drunk, drove drunk, and snorted ketamine off a midget trans hooker. But the Calvinist is like, I had a blackout too. What'd you do? I facilitated an adoption, and I moved people out of a war zone. Pete, what happened? Oh, yeah. Actually saved like 3 people's lives last night, I think. That's what they said, anyway. I don't remember any of it. Just got taken over. Off topic, but I found an obscure cult free to review. They're called the White Eagle Lodge. Yikes. Heretical abomination. Sounds horrifying. Does Calvinism say that if you're not elect, then no matter what you do, you will not go to heaven? I'm not sure how extensive their soteriology claim is following that, but I'm not sure actually about that one. I think they I think they even debate stuff like that where they're like, well, maybe. It's a good question. I like that question. Not true about Calvinism. I will personally convert this entire chat room one soul at a time. You can't convert to anybody. You don't have a church. You can't convert people to a non-church. That's called churchless apologetics. The only thing you could possibly do is convert someone to a philosophical position that you hold about salvation and irresistible grace. But you can't convert people to a church. So it's useless. You can only convert people to a bad idea.
Colorado has a Star Wars themed church service. Off topic, but the video is on X.
That's scary. The other thing, Alchemist, you don't believe that you can convert people because only God can do that from your view. There's no work you can actually do there. It would be God using you as a puppet, and then it would be God changing their stance as a puppet. And it would be having a puppet conversation. It was like, oh, here, I'm Alchemist. You should be Calvinist. And then this guy's like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I'm really settled on orthodoxy, you know? And and then God changes this person's stance, and this person goes, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I convinced you of Calvinism. And God's like, no, you didn't. And then this person's like, I'm so glad I was convinced of Calvinism. And God's like, no, you didn't. Stupid. It's historically incompatible also. It's not just the broken theology. It's historically can't be placed anywhere near the early church. Anywhere. Yeah, how does someone without will convert? Yeah, how do you convert? Just waiting for God to give you the right download app, and then it comes over you and you don't have any choice anymore. I've explained it too many times. It's not Calvinist. No, you just saying it's not Calvinism doesn't get you out of the entailment. You just think it's not an entailment. You see, the chat is smarter than you. We work with the entailments. You think the entailment is like, that doesn't match my position. Well, it's because you don't make the connection between your position and the entailment. What we're talking to you about is the entailment. Do you even know what that is, Alchemist? Do you know what an entailment is, Alchemist? What the hell, man? Just read the Bible. I can't say. Thank you for the $5. I can't say because it's a surprise. It's a surprise for somebody. So, but I will document it when it's done, and then I'll share it with you. But thank you for asking. How's it going? I just got the outline done. Just read the Bible. Read the Bible. I'm really smart, though. Nothing to do with intelligence, just disagreement. No, there's no you disagreeing. Let me ask you, Alchemist. Can someone who's elect actively with their will sin? And can someone who's not elect, who's not taken by God's irresistible grace, is it possible for them to act out a good deed? Answers that never are answered. Questions that are never answered under Calvinism. Imagine thinking you can convert people when it's all predetermined. I know. They're like, no, God gave us the gift of believing that we're actually doing something. That's Islam too. That's what Islam is. They can't disagree. It just is. Yeah. I'm part of the elect. Yeah, you could just declare that. It's another trans epistemology. It's the same thing. Calvinists are definitely trans-elect because the epistemology is the same as the trans person. I'm a man. I declared it. How do you know? Because I said so. Here's another problem. Who else? Hey, Alchemist, Can you tell me who's elect? Here's another problem why your ecclesiology falls, is you can't tell who's elect. So you can't tell who's in the church. So a church is nowhere. Wild. How did Christianity survive 2,000 years under the truth claim that Christians are just the elect people, but we don't know who the elect is? Oh, Paul could have... Look, is it possible, alchemists, that Paul wrote his corrections to fake, false Christians who weren't actually elect? He just didn't know it? Is that possible from your view? I want to know I'm not even being hyperbolic. Is it possible that Paul wrote corrective letters to people that weren't elect? He just didn't know they weren't elect. They weren't actually true Christians. He just didn't know it, though. Isn't it possible from your view? Questions that won't get answered on this episode of Calvinists Dodging Questions. Ash says he's elect. There it is, just like that. And I'm a woman. And you can't say otherwise because it's an internal declaration. I've been trans-elect. Can I lose it, though? That's another thing. Can you lose your elected position? Like, if you got a tattoo that was elect on your lower back, like, do you have to change the tattoo at some point? Could you lose your status? Oh, man, he bit the bullet. He bit the bullet. And this is why I told you. This is why you can't have ecclesiology. You can't have a true church that's guided. Because it's possible that the entirety of the Christ's college and the Great Commission could have been flawed. It's over. Like, you don't even know what it means to say yes to this. You don't even know what you just said. Like, it's like those Hindus who drive those big trucks and they cross the lane and they kill 15 people and they're just like,
What happened now? Did something happen there?
like you're like dumbfounded. Could the apostles? Yeah, like if you think the apostles were determined and there's no will or synergy in the matter, then first of all, you've already conceded that they could have been wrong about the church. They wouldn't have known. Only God would know, but they don't know. Man doesn't know. The apostles don't know the true teachings of Christ. Also, they couldn't have not done what they've done. So there's no good deed in what they're doing. It doesn't take any will. It doesn't take sacrifice. You know, most people counter Calvinism through like the deterministic thing and the free will stuff, and that's all well said and good. That's like another philosophical angle. But it's brutal once you get to sacrifice, because Christianity has always been a sacrificial paradigm. The nature of what the sacrifice is changed from the Old Testament to the New, but the sacrificial element still maintains. But the Calvinist view can't have a sacrifice. You can't have sacrifice because that requires a type of will that you move away from your own preferences and wants, and you align your actions and your focus and your thoughts to Christ. But you can't have that under Calvinism. A sacrifice requires a choice that can be made between the right one and the incorrect one. But you can't have that under Calvinism. Jesus already knew Judas was... No, knowledge isn't causal. See, this is ironically what the atheist argument against God is that if God has all knowledge, then how could you have choice? You don't fundamentally get secondary causality. You don't fundamentally get that there's no relationship between God's all-knowing position on all things and having cause. Knowing something doesn't cause it, dude. Knowing something does not cause it. Knowledge doesn't equal causation. No, you just keep asserting that. Watch, Alchemist. Do you know what an argument is? Can you make an argument that draws the conclusion that if God knows something's going to happen, then you don't get to have a choice? Can you make the argument? No, you could only assert it, but you can't make the argument. And by the way, if that were true, if it was all predetermined, then you can't blame people for sinning. Then there's no judgment. You can't praise people for the lives they live. You can't even, call someone a saint. Why would there be saints if there was no sacrifice? If everything is predetermined, Alchemist, there's no such thing as sacrifice. Is that what you believe? There's no true sacrifice if everything's determined, including, I don't know, this guy who took on human nature and rode on a donkey to his own death. Unbelievable, man. It's just blasphemous. Yeah, Calvinism is disgusting. So, okay, so there was no will in the matter. And by the way, we're made in God's image, right? So God's determined. If human beings are made in God's image and we're determined, then God doesn't have free will. It's so bad. It's so bad. Everyone says, hey, if you had a DeLorean, go back in time and stop the most evil person. Everyone thinks Little Mean Mustache Man or Mao Zedong or Stalin. No, it's Gutenberg and this guy, Calvin. Easy. It's satanic, dude. It's so gross.
Less than 3% of the people who claim to believe in Jesus
It's so
holds to
gross.
the Reformation doctrine. If sola fide is true, wouldn't this conclude Reformation theology is a heresy? Chase
Yeah.
K.
Yes. That's a good point, Chase. I think the issue they have is that they can't define free will. Well, if they can't define free will, then they can't define what it means to be made in God's image, and they also can't define what it means to sin. There's no Christianity, man. JB, in Scripture, the description of love is described with the word hope. How could there be hope if there's no... Yeah, that's a good point, Jeremy. If everything's predestined, then hope is an illusion. That means life in Christ is an illusion. It's so sick. Yeah, bingo. Exactly. Bingo. How do you hold on to this? It's so putrid. Creatures cannot do good, only God. Okay, can creatures sin then? If a creature can't do good, then why do you believe a creature can sin? There's no distinction between doing good and sinning then. There's just action that's determined by God. And it's so bad, man. It's just bad. If I change my mind wasn't possible, then why did Jesus say to us, repent if it's not possible according to Calvinists? I don't know. I don't know. You can't do good. Okay, how do you know you're doing good right now? If you believe that creatures can do no good, is it a type of good knowing that and saying it? Is that a good deed, is saying that creatures can't do good? Watch how broken the epistemology is. Alchemists, focus here. Yes, we can sin. Jesus said, who is good. Don't read scripture to us. If you think we can sin, that requires a type of will. That means we have a choice in sinning, acting against the good, and what's the alternative? Doing good. But if we don't have a choice in sinning, or a choice in doing good, the privation of that is sinning. Do you understand? Do you understand? Here I am. I have a choice between two options. I can do good or not. You say I can't do good. So it's actually not us doing good. It's God doing good, using us as a meat sack. Okay, well, if we can't do good on our own will, then anything we do that's bad is just a consequence of God not using us as a puppet. God is the author of sin from that position. It's putrid. It's the logical entailment, mechanically speaking, of not being able to do good. Do you understand that? If there's two options, one is doing good and one is sin, the opposite. If you don't do this thing, it's sinful. If only God can make you do the good thing, right? And there's no will in the matter, he takes over you. If he doesn't take over you, you couldn't have not sinned. That's God sinning, man. It's sick. You're sick. You're spiritually ill. Go to the hospital. Seriously, go to the hospital. You're spiritually ill. It's an illness. Exactly. There is no different. They're no different from the atheists. If we were just God's robots functioning according to the predetermined conditions, what's the point? Why try? There is no try, Giovanni. There's no. Well, I don't feel like making it to liturgy, and you do anyway against your own feelings. That wasn't a sacrifice. I missed this event because I went to Pascha. I chose Pascha over this event, even though the event was really important. There was no sacrifice, according to Alchemist. It's so bad, man. I just don't. That's why I'm like, we can do all of this logical work in the chat with him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a spiritual issue. It doesn't matter. Hey, Jim, I'm looking as a Protestant into church history. Can you recommend some early church writings that demonstrate the early church's belief? Well, I would recommend going to liturgy because whatever writing you're going to find is going to be geared around what the practice was. And so our argument is any writings you find are going to be written through the historical tradition of Holy Orthodoxy. So my recommendation, Victor, is go experience a divine liturgy, and any of the writings that you get from the priest or come back to me or Jay or anyone else can give you writings, right? I would recommend Religion of the Apostles as opposed to just early church writings, more of a compilation of the chronology of pre-Second Temple Judaism and the continuation into early Christian, New Testament Christian practice. I think it's backwards to read church fathers outside of the lens of practice. That's my position. That the best thing for you to do is go to liturgy, experience the tradition as it is, as it was, and as it will be, and then through the practice, read the commentary about it. And you'll thank me for that. I honestly wish I did that, honestly. Go to liturgy first. An EvoTord? Yeah, it's like an insult word for people who think that we used to be fish, essentially, and then doesn't listen to the entailments that it violates the law of identity. Nice to see you. You will thank me later for that. It's just such a shortcut, and I don't want to reduce it to that like it's some sort of race, but it's like it really is a shortcut. You know, because you guys know if you take the opposite approach around the peripheral, streets and not get into the hub, anything you read, you're going to interpret outside the lens of practice anyway. You're just going to filter it through your existing system and not through the view from inside. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. You'll love it too. Yeah, I know. God, actually, it's God's fault I reject Wait, Alchemist, whose fault is it that I reject Calvinism? Whose fault? I mean, I read into Calvinism. I'm pretty sure that if only God could do good, and doing good would be converting to Calvinism, if I didn't do good, it wouldn't be my fault. That's insane. I'm about to call in. No, you don't actually get to decide that, Alchemist. Now, I asked you a pretty good question here. If I don't convert to Calvinism, and converting to Calvinism is a good, and only God can do good, if I don't convert to Calvinism, isn't it God's fault that I didn't convert to Calvinism? It seems like that would be the case. I don't actually see a way around that. Seems like a valid argument. I mean, that's the reason I'm not a Calvinist. I mean, I'm part of a gay Anglican church, though. What's my take on the Candace and Andrew drama? Well, I hope they have a debate, you know? I hope it gets front and center. You know, because what else is going on in politics, honestly? At least that'll be entertaining, right? Did he answer? It's a pretty easy question, right? If it's good, if it's a good act, if doing good it can only be done by God's intervention, right? We're taken over by his irresistible grace. It's like a remote control. Oh, I will go to the most closest proximal Calvinist church. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. Okay, if going to a Calvinist church and converting to Calvinism, whatever that means, is a good deed and only God can do good, then who's responsible for me not converting to Calvinism? You didn't answer the question. I don't see you answering the question. I'll say it again so you can hear it. Do you need an echo? You said earlier that we don't do good, only God does good through us. If it's the case that converting to Calvinism is good, and only God can convert us to Calvinism truly, and we can't do that good on our own, who's responsible for me not converting to Calvinism? On this episode of Questions That Calvinists Can't Answer 'Cause They Can't. Not because they won't, it's that they're determined not to. I did, it's your fault. That's a contradiction then. Only God can do good through me, but it's my fault that I didn't do good. That's a direct P, not P, bro. That's a P, not P. That's a P. That's a big old P, not P. You got P, not P? Are you gonna P? Or are you gonna not P? Make up your mind. See, this is Preles. We can't go in circles with the logic of this because the logic is literally on a marquee. It's like on a massive billboard with lights and flares around it, and there's popcorn and spotlights and singing and dancing, and it's like, look at this contradiction. And it's a spiritual issue. It is. Don't get all puffed out with your intellectual acumen here. It's a spiritual issue. Sad, though. Horrifying, but it's a spiritual issue. It's just so bad, though. Like, I get upset because I think the broken logic alone should be enough to move off of it, just like evolution, but it's not. It never is. It never is. It is a contradiction. How can I fall away from his grace if staying toward his grace is something that relies on him to do and not me? You contradicted yourself. You fell away from his grace? No, he didn't give me grace according to you. If coming to his grace is not me, but it's him doing it, then I can't fall away from his grace. That's a contradiction, dude. Watch this. Hey, alchemist, is not falling away from his grace an act of good? You can't fall away if you're elect? Yeah. Can I elect myself? Holy shit, dude. Can I elect myself? It's insanity, man. By being sinful. No, I can't be sinful if I'm elect. You just said it, man. This is insanity. This is like Muslim level insanity. So we have a choice, but we don't have a choice. That's another P and not P. Not falling away. It's your fault for falling away from grace. What do you mean? I did exactly what I'm natured to do, being that I'm not elect. Is it my fault I'm not elect? Hey, whose fault is it that I'm not elect? Whose fault is it? Yeah, I wouldn't be elect. Whose fault is it that I'm not elect? Who's at cause that I'm not elect? Is it am I causing my non-election, or only God could elect us? Do you need more contradictions? It's like they should make P and not P cereal. A big bowl of it. Just little P's and a little dash and a P. See? Yeah. Father Ron just elected me. He literally just elected me. What say you, alchemist? I'm elect. Can you tell me I'm not? Wow. You have no free will, but you're not converting to Calvinism is your fault. Your only choice is to sin. No, that's not a choice. If my only choice is to sin, it's not a choice. That's analytically not a choice. So you guys, what are we doing here? What are we even doing here? Look, do you guys have a choice to meet the goals of the remaining 6 chats or not? You keep contradicting do you care that you're contradicting yourself or not? Do you even care? What does a choice necessitate? It's like, come on, man. Calvinism is heretical. The sacrifice argument JB was making is killer. It's a killer because guess what? The sacrifice would apply to God, to Jesus Christ as man. He couldn't have willed himself onto the cross.
If we can only do evil and God is who causes the elect to do good because he loves those he's chosen, how does the elect to love God?
This isn't hard.
Is God loving God?
He's God-loving God. Well, no, it's God, like I wouldn't want to be blasphemous in the way I would produce this, so I'd have to be a bit careful. But it is a type of mockery for the Calvinists. But, like, God having puppets on his hand of some are elect and some are not, but neither have a choice.
Bob, half white Justin. My favorite cereal is Oops. All
Oops.
Contradictions. Forget your YouTube goals. Take my Bob chat money and like it.
They should have a races cereal. It's like called diversity. It's just a bunch of cereal with the different races. And you overgeneralize. You just like actually stereotype. It could be called stereotypes with the big O. Stereotypes. I think I could do that with some FU money. Yeah. So you're just constantly, you have the option for good through his grace. No, you don't have the option of choosing his grace. That's a contradiction again. You say this isn't hard. Apparently it's very hard for you. You don't have an option if choosing his grace is not your choice. Right? Is choosing his grace your choice? No, his grace chooses you, according to you. He sprinkles irresistible grace over your head while you're sleeping, and you wake up and you do a nice thing. So it's just sick. It's a sick, sick thing. How can you make a choice if you can't? You can make a choice, you can't make a choice. Contradiction. You choose his grace, but no, he actually really chooses your grace. That's a contradiction. You sin. Except sin, you were determined to sin and you couldn't have not sinned. But it's your fault. You guys are just, no, you tried. We produced 4 blatant P not Ps. Do you care about any of that? 4 in a row. P not P. You don't care. Guys, I tried. I literally gave you a bunch of contradictions that you pointed out, and you're just still not, you're not accepting contradictions. And by the way, even us not getting it, is that us or is that God? Is it us not getting it, or is it God not giving us the irresistible grace to understand you? Which is it? His view isn't as bad as thinking Mary was a virgin her whole life. Joseph had to have it with her. No, that doesn't follow. That's just an assertion. Why would that be the case? I'm not even ortho, and I know that. It's crazy, man. Yeah, what do you, yeah, you can't, well, there is none. Scuba Steve, it's not, there is no mechanism. It's God doing it, right? That's who's doing it. You don't see any, I know you don't see any contradiction. I know that. We can see that. But you have a bunch of people here, many of us have at least some lower to mid to upper level acumen in logic, and we're going, you're producing contradictions rapidly.
I'm on Rumble and even I saw the sparklers on the marquee.
Yeah. You're calling? No, you're not. We're not going to waste time with you. You don't even accept that there are contradictions. You don't even accept that a contradiction is a P and a not P statement. You don't even accept that. You think I'm going to give you the time to waste in us going in circles of me producing the same contradictions and you saying them over and over and over and tiring my entire chat? Taking all the energy out of the room?
Choosing his grace is a good thing, P2. We can't do good things. Raro.
We can't do good things, yeah. We can't do good things, yeah. You choose his irresistible grace. That's not choice. If it's irresistible and I can't not choose it, then it's not a choice. That's another P and not P. How many P's and not P's do we have? Anybody? 10? What was the P and not P? Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh. Well, you see, Jim Bob, we aren't God, and God is good. We can't do God, so therefore we can't do good. Boom, de-boomed. Just got to read the Bible.
Get the traditions out of your mind, and when you just read the scriptures, just read the scriptures.
Big old Fitty coming in. Nice. I think so. I think he might. I think he graduated to it, actually, Schweitz. I'm actually pretty sure. Look, alchemists, is it a good thing? Is it a good action to choose God's grace? Yes, from your view, it is. Can I do that action? No, I can't. So you telling us, oh, it's our fault for not choosing his grace when that's an impossibility is a contradiction. If we can't choose his grace and you're like, you didn't choose his grace, that's not our fault. Bruh. I'll run out of locales. I ran your Evo arguments against Romanian theistic evolutions caused a number of identity crises. Yeah, it will. It will. Yep. The essential property one is a killer. It's really bad. And on every level, you could do that. You can point to the thing itself, the category, a whale or whatever. Or you can do it of the some of the parts of the body. Like, for instance, like one essential property for a mammal is it has mammary glands. But if mammary glands, according to evolution, are accidental properties, then it's actually not an essential property. Contradiction. Mammary glands are essential property for mammals. Mammary glands are accidental properties. Make up your mind, silly Willy. Wild. Two, 4 minutes to left, y'all, on the chat. Super chat goal. What else is happening with the holy fire thing? I saw that guy, and whatever his approach, trying to figure out, what's a miracle, what's not a miracle. Go for it, right? Go for it. But I'm going to show you something that I do have a big problem with from Capturing Christianity, other than I just actually don't like him at all. He did a post that was, I think, in pretty bad taste. Now, I'm not the ultimate arbiter for what's bad taste, I've said things and made things probably in bad taste. But this one, where he actually has the faithful here outside of the Holy Church, and he puts a Zippo lighter thing, and then he posts it, from the perspective, he posts it like I'm innocent. He says, okay, who made this? But he posted it, and he actually, his own followers who even agree with his assessment of the holy fire are calling him out and be like, this is disgusting, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing? Thank you so much for that, Chaser. Appreciate you. One more, y'all. I remember when I was still an Orthodox Jew, talking to my Torah through science friend. Torah through science? Is that a thing? I like that. Friends trying to explain to them why evolution is idiotic and unbiblical. It makes no sense. I mean, just like from every angle of it, even without the Bible, even without a theological view of it, the nominalism is so rampant now. And I don't think it's ever been attacked so viciously from that perspective. It's always been attacked from classical foundationalists like William Lane Craig. William Lane Craig, the first Adam was a crawling beast. I don't see any problem with Adam barbecuing his parents. And you're like, why are you trying to make this work? Why? And I think that's what classical foundationalism has done to even heterodox Christianity, is like, it's forced them to work in the naturalistic paradigm and grant a bunch of self-evident truths and never quite attack things from a philosophical, paradigmatic lens. And when you do that, when you give them that much room, they just run with it. And then you're running their race with them. Then you're trying to make their naturalistic assumptions about the age without undercutting it. We'll run with that. Well, I'm going to try to make the age of the earth work with a biblical narrative. Why? Why? Retire. Pursue what truly makes you happy. Figure skating. Can't you just imagine William Lane Craig just gracefully gliding I think that a pirouette on ice skates is well worth the risk. It's not even close. Goal. Thank you all. I remember being excited accepting theistic evolution. It denied atheists the attack on Christian. Yeah, that's a part of it. There's a social aspect for sure. Where you're like, listen. It's like equivalent to being like, look, I'm Republican, but I am so against Trump. I am so disgusted by his behavior. Okay? So give me a little space. I'm one of the good ones here, okay? It's like, what? Same thing with Christians who are like, listen, I'm a Christian. I want to say I don't like Jay Dyer, first of all. Second of all, pre-sup and tag, I also think it's absurd, okay? Okay, you guys like me now? It's like, it's the ultimate you guys like me now. It's like, why? Why? No, evolution's stupid. Evolution is so stupid. Silly. It's a silly position. Hey, thank you. Thank you all. Yeah. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all. Crazy. Anyway, that's all happening. I don't know if that's going to turn into a debate. I don't actually think that's a good thing. And it's not because I think they have good, valid attacks or approaches to holy fire being a miracle. Because there's a lot of other assumptions in there. I think the focus on holy fire, even for an Orthodox person, is not what you should be utilizing to bring people into Orthodoxy to begin with. You know? Like, that's not the central theme, practice, or focus, even. You know, it's not led with these types of phenomenons. It's not led, it just comes with it. I forget who it was. Was it Father Stephen DeYoung? It was someone in an interview, and they were like, yeah, no, miracles are all the time. Like, we're not like, we don't go, what? Like, Orthodox Christians don't go, what? Like, maybe some newbies would. I probably would, like, if I experienced something that was in that realm, I might get overwhelmed. But the long-standing tradition as a whole, if it had a voice and a mind, and it does have a mind, the mind of the church doesn't go, whoa, stop your horses. You know, let's focus on it. No, it's just, if that happens, it happens. Don't bet on these things. Don't turn miracles into a technology. Don't expect them to be regular so that you can market them. Don't do that. There's no obligation for God to maintain a Mer streaming icon so that you can set up like a ribbon, opening for it. No. It is. Yeah, it is. Like, just the continuity of the church is a miracle. My priest gave a homily maybe a whole year ago that I remember. It was about, like, think about what the miracle of Christ giving us a church, and through the changing trends and ages and customs and norms and civilizations and languages, that it's maintained what it is, that it's kept true. That's a miracle. And that's why people's skepticism comes in, right? They're like, even people who proclaim Christianity, they're like, what about the telephone game? So you're going to say that it maintained this entire time? Oh, come on, man. Have you seen humans? And you're like, yeah, we're not relying just on humans for the claim that the true church maintains the body and doesn't fall to Satan. It's not a claim about the perfection of humans. But they're like, yeah, but seriously, dude. I mean, be realistic about this. No, Christianity is actually not even about being, quote, realistic. There's just cynicism. You saw someone visibly shaking and angry at icons. Yeah. My pursuit of iconography, I'm expecting some spiritual attacks myself. But I'm also expecting just absolute beauty and fulfillment. Very excited. Anywho, what else we got here? What is it, 4 o'clock? When does he start? Someone tell me, is it 5? Should I power through? What do you guys think? Let me see. Helio Steiner. He doesn't have an up yet, so I'm not sure. Today's Friday, right? I'm not hallucinating. I'm not sure about it. 9? So 7? Oh, no, I can't power through that. 4? That's 3 full hours. I'm not crazy. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not a nutcase. Was there one other thing I saw? I feel like I saw some. Oh, yeah. No, it's the one. See, I didn't know. Should I? I don't know if I should. George Janko and needgod.net. Oh, no. I don't know if I should do this. Like, I don't want to watch something that makes me physically mad. And don't even get me started on the comments. Everyone's like, finally, this is what I've been waiting for, the truth. Ryan from needgod.net arbitrarily going through scripture and telling us what Christianity is. It's what we always needed. I'm almost like, maybe I should leave that to the experts. Do it? Oh, no, man. I don't know, man. Should I? Oh, man. It's so bad. It can't be good. And this is what's crazy is George Janko, he's so oblivious. Maybe he didn't even watch it, but a very recent exchange, needgod.net is pressed on the consequence of faith alone, and very explicitly what the consequence is. And I mean explicit. We're talking about sexual activity, well, perverted sexual activity that is forbidden. And he's like, well, yeah, look, you're saved. What? You can't sin. You can't do it. Don't worry about it. You can't take it from
ability to outwork our sin. Then why would Jesus need to come down?
You make a great point. How much of the work needed to get you to heaven did Jesus do for you?
All of it.
So then how much is left for you to still do to get to heaven?
None of it. Okay, so then could you lose yourself?
So why did Christ give us a church if he died and defeated death? Why would we need to teach anybody anything, dude? Why would his commission need to go out and tell people what they don't even need to know? Isn't that so weird? To be like, Christ defeated death, and at Pentecost created the church for us in the here now, and the apostles went out and made disciples and then bishops and priests that followed. But to share what he would call it, the gospel, and the gospel is that you didn't need the gospel. The gospel is the central theme of Ryan Need.Godnet, whatever's the worst name ever, is that you don't need the gospel. And you wouldn't even need scripture. You wouldn't even need scripture if this was true. You wouldn't even need to know that you were saved. It would just be the automated, fundamental metaphysical change before Christ's death and his resurrection. And you know what? To really question this position on a large scale platform, who better to cross-examine rigorously these kind of presuppositions than George Jenko? I mean, top of the list.
Salvation.
Dude looks like a Minecraft character.
I'm just playing. I do pray. I only go the way of Mr. Yahweh.
Why would you take advantage of that?
I gotta get out of my own damn way.
Oof.
What's up, brother?
Hey,
Dude,
be here.
It feels unreal to, one, not have a platypus behind your head.
That's true.
But
I was thinking about bringing him along from Australia.
But I've got a demon behind me.
You should have. We almost got hats.
I told them about this.
You did.
Welcome back, guys. I'm here with needgod.net.
See, it's a bad name. It's hard for everyone to say.
That's right.
And then, what's your name? Nobody knows your name.
My name's Ryan.
Ryan. Oh, they do know your name. I
Yes.
do know that.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that. I'm so sorry, Ryan. Why did you call yourself need.net? Is it like part of your brand, or was it something you already had and then you went into like ministry?
Yeah, so I've been doing evangelism on the street for like 20 years, and I had this website, needgod.net, for a long time.
Who cares?
Mark that in as like,
Here. But like, okay, did you build this up? Is it a natural?
yeah, I think who I love speaking to, professing Christians particularly, because
Professing?
when I say professing, so anyone who calls himself a Christian. So they make the profession that they
Got
believe
it.
in Jesus. That's what
Why would you need to do that if Christ already did the deed and you're already saved? You don't even need to profess to be a Christian.
You like talking to them?
By the way, you wouldn't even need to talk to them. This is the great irony here with these people. The great irony is that their entire identity and all of the time, every waking hour and what they're doing is a work. Every single thing they're doing. Being on this show is working. No need.
yeah, I like to talk to anyone, but particularly them, because I find in my experience just of doing evangelism,
Who authorize? See, that's why I want to start the shirt. Who's your bishop? I want to start selling the shirt. Who's your bishop? Because that really sends people spiraling. Oh, that's a really interesting take on theology. Who's your bishop? They're like, what?
is that 90%
They're like, I am my bishop.
of professing Christians, those who call themselves Christians, don't really know the way to get to heaven. And so then I don't have to talk about God's existence with them because they already believe God exists. I don't have to try and prove the Bible. They say they believe the Bible. But when you ask them, hey, why do you think you're going to heaven? They say, because I'm a good person.
Yeah.
That's the most common response I get. Or a combination of Jesus plus the fact that I do good, I pray, I don't sin too much, something along those lines. And so they're really still relying upon themselves to save them rather than relying upon Jesus.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they just need to, first of all, realize they haven't met the standard like the rest of us. We've all sinned, but they need someone to share them. Actually, Jesus came for this very reason. Now, most people will know Jesus died on the cross for our sins, but they don't know what that means.
Wow.
So could you break that down to us? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Can you break it down like we're on Sesame Street?
Yeah. And this is, I like, in math class, when you...
Fast forward this. I didn't do good when I was in math class.
The Omegle
I
Church.
don't want to revisit it.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, if the teacher just says, hey, look, here's the problem and here's the solution, but he doesn't tell you how he got there, then you're not going to know how to do the next question. You'd be like, I don't know how you got there, teacher.
Yeah.
But if he shows you the working and even gets you to say, now, what
Shows you the work.
what would be the result of this?
Yeah, did anyone catch that? Shows you the work.
You then understand the concept. And so then the next question, you'll probably have a greater chance that you'll get it, right? And so people have heard the phrase, Jesus died for my sin, so often, but then they don't understand what that means. And so I think when I share the gospel, I try and do it in a question way. I'll say, okay, so if Jesus takes 100% of the punishment you deserve, how much punishment is left?
See, that's already starting from a presupposition about what defeating death is or sacrifice is to begin with. Like, he's like using like mathematical formulas to come to a propositional view on salvation. And this is what I would call, Jay correctly calls all of this churchless apologetics. And that's the best term for it. It really is. Churchless apologetics. There's no authority. There is no bishop. There's no structure to it at all, right? It's free form. It's like there's ballet and then there's modern dance. This is modern dance. But this is propositional Christianity. That if you could do a 1 + 2 = 3, and the simplicity is 3 equals you're saved, then that's it. It's a mind church. You just made a proposition, and that's it.
Left for you to still get. And so people process it. Okay, he takes all of it. Oh, none left. No punishment left, right? Okay, so with 0 punishment left.
Yeah, I want to scratch off the tickets. Yeah, it's like that. Willy Wonka and the Salvation.
Then where would
Factory.
you get to go when you die? Oh, I'd get to go to heaven, they'll say. Yeah, so based on this logic, what is the reason you get to go to heaven? Oh, because, and so they articulate because Jesus took the punishment for my sin.
Amen.
And amen, yeah. And what's heaven? It's like he still has a modern conception of going to heaven, there's like a coordinate space. It's like a Cartesian plane. Well, you go to heaven, and there's also not going to heaven. It's like, this is why some people actually learn about the Orthodox view, which is the historically held view of these things, that the orientation toward God, as the foundational lens we look at these things, not like a set of conditions, like temporal conditions that we try to map on into non-temporality. Like we go, oh, my worst case scenario is when I'm in traffic and I have to poop. That's hell. Do you want to go to a place like that and you're getting burned? That sounds like a bad place, right? It's like, that's so modern. That's such a modern conception.
And then I'll explain, and it's a free gift he offers us. We just need to accept it by trusting in him, that he's taken that punishment. And I find that's a really effective way, because I've had people even at my church who, like, they're sitting in church for 20 years. I'll ask them, hey, do you think you're going to heaven? Yeah, I think so.
What church is that?
So how do you get there? Be good. And then I'm like, they just heard a sermon from the preacher who was preaching the gospel, and they just went straight over their head, because they haven't had someone personally ask them these sort of questions of, like, why do you think you're going to heaven? And breaking down the logic of, we've broken God's law. We should be under punishment for that. But Jesus paid the fine.
Why do they need to know that if your view... Wait, isn't it true that this guy has to be a universalist anyway? Like, this is what I'm confused about, this position. Maybe smarter people in the chat. Maybe Ash can tell me. Is there any work that he says at least is necessary, like a proposition is made or something clicks in your head and you go, oh, Jesus is Lord? But if it's true from his view that it's like Christ actually caused the healing of all sin fundamentally, then I don't see how you wouldn't have to hold that everybody is going to be united equally with God and oriented the same way toward God. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I'm just looking at the really basic structure of this, and he's describing a bunch of works. First, you have to understand this, and then you need someone like me to explain it to you. And then once you finally understand it internally in your head, then that's why you're going to go to heaven. It's not because you did anything, except for that, all those things I just listed that you did.
You took that. And
I don't get it.
So then how much is left for us? And so once they have it broken down, I find it helps them, particularly even asking this one. What if you trust in Jesus today that he's paid?
What if you have a bucket of sin and Christ dies and he takes your bucket of sin and he throws it on his head and you look in the bucket and there's no more sin?
For your sin, but then you happen...
Is there any sin in the
to
bucket?
sin again 5 times tomorrow, and then you died. Would you go to heaven or hell? What would you guys say?
Heaven.
Heaven?
What I would know that God finished it all. Hey,
Oh, wow.
Jesus. Now,
So this is exactly why someone pressed him on this. Was it actually Trent Horn or was it someone else? Where he's like, yeah, but that means you can go to Vegas and do horrific things to your body and someone else's and then come back. It's like, yeah, he died for you to do that. You know tinsel? You ever see the tricks that tinsel does?
You are called a heretic a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Does that hurt you? Does it hurt your heart?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Because I see some of the greatest opponents of Paul. Obviously, first of all, we have the Judaizers, but one big opponent and that Paul had to deal with a lot were people who want to...
A mental assent. That's a really good term for it, Ash. It's like this mental assent. You've acquired a new way of seeing and thinking, and then you're good. It's like a spiritual elevator. And Ryan's just trying to get you on the right floor.
To put works or obedience into how to be saved.
Amen. Yeah.
Now, I'm all for good works. We should do good works. God
Why? No, wait, why?
saved us for that very purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what? No, what? No, you're already outside your own paradigm, dude. We should do good works. Why? Well, he saved you, so no matter what, you're going to heaven. But you should also do works, because that's why he saved you, to do good works here. But also you don't need to, but you should. Why? Why should I?
Ephesians 2:10.
Yeah.
But Ephesians 2:9 makes clear it's not of works, so that no one may boast. Which means if your works...
So you should do something that you don't need to do because there's no real reason to do it, but you should do it anyway.
Played even 1% of the part in getting you to heaven, then that means you'd have at least some reason to boast.
Yeah.
Right? Even if someone says, oh, but they're empowered by God's grace, but still, it's your work, so therefore you have reason to boast. So it can't be...
So the position that they hold is that he did do the good works, but it's your job to hold it.
Oh my gosh. It's this guy. Out of all the people that I get enraged by, it's this guy. You know? It's his, like, I'm a 6-year-old. Everything you're saying is probably right. I'm not going to push back on anything. I don't even have the mental capacity to do so. I'm just going to yup you to death. I'm just going to get something out of this. Yup you to death. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, amen to that. Right on, sister. This is what really gets me. It's not even like obviously the active heretic twisting Christianity and teaching false things. Yeah. But for some reason, this guy annoys me equally just because of he's almost like the brand is, I don't know, I'm a big dum-dum. So teach me something now. I'm going to just lean into your teaching. Tell me what to think. Tell me.
To me, that's the same amount of stress. Like, holding the world after it's placed in my hands is just as hard as trying to achieve the world.
Yeah.
What do you say to people that struggle in that? Because, bro, I struggle with that. That's something.
See, I wish George Janko was smart enough to go, but Ryan, you flying here and doing this talk and quote teaching, is that a work? Is it?
Something that I used to walk around the neighborhood and I used to weep to God. And I used to truly think that if I die today, I'm cooked. I'm not going to heaven. And I truly think it's because I kept weighing all my goods and bads and goods and bads and goods.
That's actually perfectly healthy to start with the position that you're a chief sinner and never assume God's judgment of you, that it's you're in the clear. Never. Why would you do that?
Bads.
Right.
What I've realized, this is going to cause a lot of separation. When other people put up the position of you must do the good works, in my heart I go, but have you sinned? See, even if you did the good works, sin is still a part of the equation.
Yeah.
Which means if we had the ability to outwork our sin, then why would Jesus need to come down?
You make a great point. That's Galatians 2:21, right?
And that
Is it? Is that what it is?
my dad
That's exactly right. That's exactly my private reading of Galatians. It's amazing how you just said that.
was quite angry with me for turning my heart towards the way I was raised. And I used to be combative. And I realized that I was doing more harm than good. And after the Avengers episode, and I took a few shots that I shouldn't have taken, I realized that like God gave me permission to have this influence, but that doesn't mean I take the rights and rein in people in a direction that I believe is right. And so I always tell people, hey, I'm just learning.
What do you think being a father is?
But I asked my dad this one question. And the reason why I'm doing the question thing that you're saying is, one, keeps me away from looking pompous, like I know everything, because I don't know everything. And because I make these hard statements, I look so
Yeah, but the thing is, he's overcorrected here. His entire career is presenting that he doesn't know anything. Like, yeah, you can do a disservice to yourself and others pretending you know everything, but you could also do a disservice to people pretending you don't know anything, because you can't correct people. You can't actually help people. You can't even challenge them. You're just a carpet, dude. You just get walked on, dude. You get walked all over.
arrogant, and it's something that I'm trying to correct in my mouth. Two, and most importantly, that's how Jesus responded to people. He never just pointed their finger and told them yes or no. He always asked them, like how you were saying.
Question.
He had them work their way there.
Work?
So I asked them a question. I said, he goes, why are you so faithful in this direction? And I asked him, I said, can I ask you a question? If another country came over and they took over this country, and the guy who was running was a psychopath, and he just loved watching the world burn.
Does look like selling.
And so he's having fun with taking over our country. And he looks at you, he goes, I'll tell you what, give me your son, and I'll beat him, and I'll berate him, and I'll stick him up here to let all these millions of people know what happens if you cross me. Or I take everybody down. So give me your son, everyone lives, or don't give me your son, I'll still take your son and kill everybody. Now, fast forward in the future. Everybody's at the bar, at the restaurants, at weddings, they're cheersing. But when they're cheersing, they're saying, thank God George gave his son and that I did this.
Right.
How would you feel about that?
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, I would burn them alive.
Feel the
And I said, that's a very interesting thing you said, because I also believe that's how God feels.
Yeah, I think you make a great point.
You make a great point about your feelings. You know, when I'm uncertain about what God believes, I usually transpose my feelings onto God, and if it makes sense, and I'm like, yeah, God must feel that way. That's usually, you make a great point. Using your feelings, your personal preferences and feelings as a barometer is a great way to start. It's in the gospel. Do you know how many 11-year-olds I talked to on Omegle this week? I don't know what this accent is.
I give this analogy sometimes. I say, if I say, look, I'll buy you a ticket to a concert, and you're like, I'm not really sure you will, so I'm going to go buy my own ticket just in case. Then were you really trusting me? No, you weren't. Right? You thought I wouldn't give you what I promised. And that's the thing. If someone says, yeah, Jesus, you died on the cross for me, but I don't think that's enough to get me to heaven, just that. Yeah. I've got to do my good works as well to get to heaven. That's an insult. That's saying, Jesus, you're unreliable. You promised eternal life to me, as 1 John 2:21 says. This is the promise he made to us, eternal life. Well, think about it. God makes a promise. He doesn't lie. And he's got unlimited resources to fulfill that promise. And so therefore, if someone says, look, I just can't know I'm going to heaven, to me, it usually sounds like they're trusting in their performance then to save them. And 1 John 5:13 says, I write these things to you who believe in the name of the Son of God, that you may know you have eternal life. Amen. So Scripture wants us to know. Yeah. And the only way you can know is if it's based on the promises of God and not based on your performance.
Amen. That changed my life.
So now this, understanding this, when was it for you?
Shut up, lady. How blessed are you all that our Orthodox homilies don't sound anything like that. Like, I'm just so thankful.
When you're,
it's like a pitch. It's like a sales pitch. It's like they're convincing themselves. There's like a plea. It's like, please, is this it? Please. If I say it, if it comes out of my mouth, maybe I'll actually believe what I'm saying.
Your life that you grasp that understanding.
Is that at the age of 15 is when I became a Christian. Grew up in a Christian home, but no one's born a Christian. You have to personally come to understand the message for yourself and believe it. And so for me, it was around about the age of 15, I just started reading through the Bible. I was like, well, I go to church, I got to read this thing. What is it saying? And then I came to see my own sinfulness. And I think that's the first thing. Before someone understands grace, they need to understand their own badness. Because you don't take a cure for a disease if you don't think you got the disease, right? So people won't accept Christ paid for my sin if they don't think that they deserve hell for their sins. So I saw my own sinfulness.
Oh, yeah, totally.
God looked at my life, I'm definitely in hell forever. I think of James 2:10, it says, if you keep the whole law but fail in one point,
all the time,
I'm guilty of all of it, yeah.
Dude, okay, that right there alone is, I don't know, I don't understand how people could read that And because you know what I've realized, and with my own
did you
family members,
realize?
and I'm sorry to cut you off. I will
fine.
let you continue.
Yeah.
But I
This is another thing with these types of people. Everything is this ongoing epiphany that's personal. And I'm not even saying that you can't have an epiphany or a religious experience or whatnot. I'm not saying that. But the entirety of their epistemology and their tradition, the absent tradition really, is they realize stuff. And it's like Ash said before, it's this constant mental ascent. And then I realized. And that's how all their testimonies are. If you've ever, many of us come from these churches where they'll get little tinsel. You know, tinsel changes her life around. And she comes in and they give her the microphone and the whole stage. And then she tells her personal testimonial story. And in a sense, the selling of the thing that she's selling is through just her feelings. And then I realized, and then, you know what happened then? It changed my life forever. And it's like, you're still the revelator. You're still the preacher. You're still your own bishop. There's no body. There's no body that you're converting to. You're converting to a feeling you had and the assumption that you've ascended. You've been illumined with a view. And now you're going to share that view with the
I've
world.
realized when we're having these conversations with people, they weigh out in their minds what's worthy as calling a sin and what's not a sin.
Right.
And they're
They make
not
classes,
understanding
don't
the
they?
separation.
Yeah.
They're in their hearts, they feel that they're kind of branched out and treated differently. And I believe that everything is lawful for us, but not in a sense of sinning. Like in the sense of like, yeah, okay, yeah, I do this, but I don't do that. To me, this is the most dangerous place to be, because then you're looking at what you've done to put Jesus on the cross and say, deal with it.
Yeah.
A dangerous place to be, George, is churchless, bodiless. That the most dangerous place to be is a liberated woman. The liberated woman who's autonomous and dating into her 50s, who doesn't bind herself, who doesn't unite in one flesh with her husband. You're not a bride. That's the most dangerous place for a woman. And that's what heterodoxy is. It's the woman, the free woman, in contrast to the bride. Just free, running around. They don't see this. They're like, no, I'm part of the bride. I'm part of the bride. It's in my head. Where? Where is it? If the church is in your head, how do you know your child is in the church when you're gone? How do you know where to tell them to go if it's your head? This is nominalism. Oh, it's their head too. Oh, the church is in your head and my head? Wait, there's no actual in reality church? Huh. So we don't actually wait, what about the early church? What was that, a head church? No, it wasn't.
A lot of people think God's going to judge us on a curve,
Yeah.
right, compared to other people. I see this all the time. Oh, look, yes, I've done those sins, but I'm not as bad as that person. Look at
Yeah.
that. They've done so much worse than me.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to work on
Standard.
Judgment
That's
Day.
their standard.
Yes.
But that's the earth's standard.
Right.
Yeah.
But I say, like, even in a court of law, you stand before a judge, you rob the bank, say, Judge, I robbed the bank, but I'm not as...
I mean, Cleve to antiquity was huffing incense when he converted. Well, he actually wasn't huffing incense. He actually smelled incense that had no knowable source. What do you mean? And you think that was the only reason Cleve... Do you understand Cleve's understanding of church history? Like, even as a Protestant, when he was a Protty? Do you understand? It's, in fact, his pursuit of church history and doctrine and practice and tradition through the ages is what had him finally go, wait, maybe this is. Now, praying and getting an answer in the form of through our senses, this happened to be the sense of smell. That's not that's not the thing, right? That's just like that's a vindication of anything, right? So, I mean, as usual, Matthew, you're one of the least charitable goblins I know. You know, you're like a true golem.
As bad as that. the murderer over there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The judge say, you still robbed the bank, I'm going to give you the punishment. And so that's the same with God.
What does your church smell like anyway? Yeah.
God.
You know what it smells like? It smells like the cleaning fluid that they used to clean quickly in between the last thing that was there. You know?
Jesus says you must be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. That's in Matthew 5:48. That's the standard. So even one lie, one time that you've thought about someone is enough for us to fall short of perfection.
You see.
Amen.
And so therefore, what should a holy God do with sinners who've broken his law? Well, it would be hell. You know, it says all liars will have their part in the lake of fire.
I can't do it. I just can't. I'm going to leave that. And speaking of Cleve, I'm going to leave that to Cleve and Soren and the rest of these guys. I can only take so much until I want to throw an egg. That's all right. I mean, it's a little annoying that these guys get posted up, and Orthodox never adequately gets posted up. George Jenko never does it. He does these half things. He does a OO or something like that, or whatever. Like, it just...
I just get so mad. I just get so mad. I just get so mad.
Jay's debate. Wait, did I put it? Oh, I think I have to edit it down because I may have gotten rowdy at the tail end of it. Is that what happened? I'll check it. I'll check it out, okay? Don't worry about that. I'll get that. I'll get it up. Don't worry about it. I'm just wondering, did I TOS that? I forget. I forget when I TOS. Smells like raspberry vape. I never understand what motivates these goblins spending their time. Well, it's like you need a scapegoat. You need the opposition. And, you know, to be fair, orthodoxy, if you're online like myself, there is opposition. You focus on a little bit here and there. But the difference, I guess, forever is that we have a place, a home to bring people. According to Matthew, I could very well be in good standing according to his ecclesiology. So that's the really weird part to me forever. It's not just spending time and hate watching. I kind of understand the phenomenon. I do it. I catch myself doing it, but I've done it. To me, it's the phenomenon that's wild is that based on their system, orthodoxy and people in it could be true Christians from their view. So it's like, I basically, you might as well start with that question. Is it possible that 1% of my parish are true Christians according to you, Matthew? And he'd say, yeah, okay. You didn't hear any? I don't remember now. I actually don't remember, Dustin, why I would have put it on members only, or is it members only maybe? Maybe it's members only. Is that what's going on? I'm like 5 days free of having X like on my phone as an app. It's wonderful. Everyone should do it. You should, if you're going to have it, only have it on your desktop, and you'll very rarely see it. And you'll like do catch up on it, but you'll never be constantly thumb warring on it. Like, I'm trying to work out my body, and like maybe one day I'll have abs. Still to this day, if I come home from the gym and Megan says, what did you work on? I still refer to my abs as my stomach. She's like, abs. And I'm like, no, it's my stomach still. But my thumbs have gotten a bit of enough. My thumbs have worked out enough. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? What is that? What was it? The debate here. Jade. Jardar. Where is it? Evo debate. Wait, where is it? Wait, when did he debate? Who am I? I don't even know. Hold on a second. Videos? What the heck's going on? I actually don't know where it is. Did I delete it? That would be funny if I accidentally deleted the debate? What the heck? What the heck happened, guys? Let me see. Evolution, the Bible. Oh, that's right. Oh, ineligible to earn, members only. Oh, it's members only, I think. Yeah, it's called That's Right. I didn't even I'm such an idiot. Oh, how do I get some views? Jay Dyer's a big name. Maybe review a debate on Jay Dyer. What do you title it? That's Right. Oh my gosh. I'm such an idiot, dude. Jay Dyer. Who did he debate? Debates. What? Who did he debate? Someone. How about that? Jay Dyer debates somebody. I still feel like I put it on members only for some reason, because I hung around after the debate and I got rowdy, I think. I guess I can risk it. Was it Mahler? Was it the Mahler thing? Oh, yeah. Well, okay, that's what it was. It was that I got a little aggro with them. And I also heard through the grapevine that crew might do a little bit of mass deporting. So I was like, I can't deal with bear tard people. That's what it was. You know what? I'm actually going to keep it down for now. And I will edit just the debate part, because I really don't want that. I don't want to attract people whose culture is to do all that crap behavior. I don't need it. I actually don't need it at all. It's not even worth whatever the content is. Screw them. Jim Bob, what's the consequence of Jesus coming from a beast nature? Debated my friend yet about this. The consequence is nominalism, that Christ only has his own particular creature nature. So the consequence is it's impossible for Christ to take on the universal nature of humanity. And as a Christian, the consequence is there's no such thing as salvation, because the salvation of mankind assumes a universality of mankind. So the consequence is Christianity is impossible. From that view. But so is evolution, because you can't navigate or talk about essential properties of things and say anything changes, because that requires a referent that with an identity. And so it's a double consequence. So he said, so what? That's the consequence. If Jesus comes from a beast nature, he's not, we're not men. We're not mankind. We're beasts. If he said, so what? I don't understand. How could he say, so what? Are we man or beasts? I missed Sandbox's chat. Hold on. Sorry about that. When is Pastor Mike going to sell scriptine? Where you put them in your... Oh my gosh, that's funny. Scriptine pouches. Absorb the scriptures directly through my bloodstream. That's right. That's a great idea. I will pay you nothing for that. One day you're just watching a Jay Dyer video, and the next day you are burning Grateful Dead incense. Dude, incense is historic. What are you talking about, dude? You're so ignorant. Incense is historical Christianity. You need soap in your mouth, dude. You're going to combust. You're going to spontaneously combust, dude. You're so blasphemous and gross. Actually, 24 hours. Crispy, get this guy out of here. You've crossed my line. Get out of here. You don't even deserve to be in the church. See, this is where I go. I'm like, keep people out. I know. Forgive me. Don't worry. I'll do confession again. It's always some version of that. It's like, I don't even want you in the church. Lord have mercy. Get out of here. You can have your demonic attacks on your own. We're not obligated to watch you have demonic attacks in real time. Okay? We'll pray for you, but you don't get to be here. Get out of here. So tired of it. Anyway. All right, 4:30. I don't think I have anything else for you guys, honestly. I'll put the Jay Dyer up and have a proper title for it. What an idiot. I'm such an idiot. Stupid. What a stupid move. It's like, wait, did Jim Bob cover Jay Dyer? Yeah, it's under Das Right. That's the title of it. Das Right. Yeah, they make fun of things that Christ actually did. Priests wear... Yeah, yeah, exactly. People are nuts, man. They're nuts. They're nuts. I said during the debate, I don't want you in my parish. I want you to perish. Yeah, Lord have mercy. See what I mean? I need prayers too, you guys. Don't give up on me. Dinosaur was released. Nice. Where's that? Let's take someone link that, Jay. I'll bring it up right now. Tell me where it is. Colossal Squid Records. Put it in here. Let's do it. Let's bring it up. Let's get some album sales. Ready? You guys want to actually support someone who's actually good at making music? Tired of it? Tired of bad music that's made by proclaimed Christians? Are you tired of that? Are you sick of it? Tired of really bad music made by Christians? Ugh, cringe. Tired of all the same chord progressions and the same tones and the same guitar solos? So am I. Are you ready for something a little more in your face, dynamic, well thought, good lyrics, soul? I am. I'm tired of that dead and proddy slop that I see. Feel good about yourself and leave. Well, we're done with that. For a limited time only, and for $29.99 and 99 cents, you can get the newest album from Hello Listener called Dinosaur, because it's unreal. Go over to Colossal Squid Records right now to get your very own album and support good music from good Christian men, people. Men. When people have a gift and they share it with the world, it's almost an obligation to make sure they're cared for. Buying his record will do just that. Thank you so much. There you go. You guys can go to Colossal Squid Records. I actually don't know how much it is, but I'm sure it's affordable. Get it. You'll get hooked. You'll get hooked on his music. And you'll be like, wait, how much music does he have? And you'll start to see a lot. A lot. He has a lot of music. So make sure to go there and get it. Okay? Okay? It's a good thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So much there, too. Dinosaur. I mean, wow. He's got a lot on his page, actually, now. So there. I feel like that's a good way to end it. Tony's doing a good job. Yes. And we're also trying to get him up on some things. Because, when you release a record, you want people to know about it. And so, how do you do that? Well, I mean, you should get on Jesse Lee Peterson. So I'm trying to make that happen. I don't have that much pull, right? I have some pull, but my rope is like, I don't know. It's like thread. It's like yarn. I have like yarn rope. Also get the Orthothugs soundtrack. That's right. Yeah, definitely do that. And Normaler too, and Chasm. I mean, there's so much. Top Ramen, 12 normal songs. Creepiest. That has the creepiest cover though. That's the picture I don't like of Tony. I don't like that one. Get Tony on Tucky. I think we're gonna have to fake Tony on Tucky though. I think we could fake that. Yeah. All right. Get your last donations in here, but make sure to save some. Definitely go support Tony. Hello, listener. Click that. Click it. Get all of them. I promise you'll get into it. And you'll be glad that you know someone so creative. And you know what you're going to say? You're going to go, how is it this guy isn't everywhere? How is it this guy, people don't know about this? How is it? And then if you watch his live stream, you'll probably find out. That's it. That's all I got today. Is there anyone who's alive? Is anyone alive? Buy Tony's music today. Bandcamp is not taking a cut. Oh yeah, it's that Friday too. That's another reason you should do it. He gets all of it. All of the work he put in, he gets every single dime. They get nothing. That's why you should do it today. Don't be like, oh, I'll get it. I'll support. It. The most support is doing it right today, now. You know what you should be able to do instead of, you know how you can dump the chat? You should be able to dump the chat at a website. I mean, it's not a chat anymore, but that feature would actually be pretty cool. If you can dump someone at a website. I mean, I guess you could. You just send the link, but they don't have that option yet. That would be great. I'm going to actually write YouTube about that. How is that possible, though? It's almost like you end the stream and it automates the experience that everybody... Well, that would crash websites for some people, though. Maybe that's not a good idea. Never mind. Yeah, that would probably be a bad idea for a big chat. Never mind. It was almost a good idea. You know, that's what I'm about. Almost good ideas. You know? I'm really good at almost. The almosts. Yeah. What is that? Who am I? I'm Jean Valjean. All right. So Thorpe Tube? Just kidding. So where do you guys want to go? Thorpe Tube? No, let's take you here. This is fun. This is a fun channel right here. We're all trying to convert this guy. And he knows it too. It's not even like a secret. He actually knows it. So you might as well send you to old rhetorical defective, okay? That's where you guys are heading today. Make sure you buy Tony's album. It's right there in the chat, okay? Right there. God bless you all.
Jimmy crack corn and I don't really care no more. What he gotta say, it's irrelevant. Once upon a time, could have been a partner of mine. Now he's getting checks from the government. I don't care where your idol stands, protecting his hands from culture jams with the oven. It's another soldier got caught, only what you thought. Nothing here was done for the fun of it. I don't care what you say, I'm on some new shit. I don't care if you're digging what I'm doing. I don't care what you think about my music. I don't care, you're not the reason I do this. Always up, always going. I don't care if I die without you knowing. Tried to catch your eye for a stint until I realized what that meant. Jimmy crack corn and I don't really care no more. What he gotta say, it's irrelevant. Once upon a time, could have been a partner of mine. Now he's getting checks from the government. I don't care where your idol stands, protecting his hands from culture jams with the oven. That's another soldier got caught, on it what you thought. Nothing here was done for the fun of it. I don't care what you say, I'm on some new shit. I don't care if you're digging what I'm doing. I don't care what you think about my music. I don't care, you're not the reason I do this. Always up, always up, always going. I don't care if I die without you knowing. Tried to catch your eye for a stint until I realized what that meant.